Hey guys, and welcome back to Building Habits. In case you're new here, this is a series where I introduce a set of rules you should try and follow in every game you play. The goal is to teach you strong fundamental principles that we will improve upon as we go. This series is my personal take on how to improve in chess, starting from 400 ELO all the way up to 2000 ELO and beyond. I'm going to choose a series of rules that I have to follow. What you might notice is that you will miss chances to play winning moves. That's okay. The goal here is to focus on the fundamentals, and I'm trying to get you guys to build good habits and play high percentage moves that will help you increase your rating. So if I was to sort of summarize I don't know if I can even say changes, maybe some of the additions to level 4 compared to level 3. I think it's going to start to feel like the training wheels are starting to be taken off as we basically have a lot more creative control with things like, for example, sacrifices are now introduced. There are certain things that I've cautioned against, like the move G4. I know it doesn't sound like a big deal, but there's just a lot of things that I have asked you guys to stay away from entirely because I think they'll negatively impact your game. But, you know, at the 1550 rating range, which is where we're at right now. Thanks, buddy. At the 1550 rating range, which is where we're at right now, I think it's time to start getting rid of those things that are definitive no's. You know, if you never play a certain move in your 1500, you know, I think it's a cause for concern because there are many times when the move, let's say G4, a weakening move like G4, might actually be a very good move, right? Something like this. It can weaken your king, but it has its benefits as well. So there are going to be a lot of things that we're talking about in terms of just taking off the training wheels, so to speak. So G4 is one of those things. Hey, big ol' Riddies, thanks for the 5 subs. You're just in time, Riddies. We haven't gotten into today's habits, so just in time. But we are starting some new stuff. Level 4. Well, Chankster, I'm going to do my best to try to explain. It's a tough thing to explain, but there is a reason why I've told you guys not to do certain things, you know, up until now. And there's a reason why I'm lifting a lot of those restrictions today. We're also going to be focusing a little bit more on endgames. You'll notice that what we've worked up to so far has not had a lot to do with the endgame. We've had a big step in our openings take place in level 3. But hopefully in level 4, we're going to have a big step forward in recognizing pawn weaknesses. Okay, so pawn structures and pawn weaknesses are going to be very important in this level. And that goes for more than just double pawns. There's a lot more weaknesses in that. Isolated pawn, etc., backwards pawns. And we're also going to put a focus on the end game. Yeah, we're going to put a focus on the end game. So when I say end game, I mean things that you should definitely know, like let's say Philidor, Lucina, classic positions, opposition, king and pawns. So obviously the whole point of this series is I'm going to start with, you know, 100% knowledge of that stuff. And so we might gain a lot of rating at the beginning, but every time I have a situation where I'm, you know, playing an endgame perfectly, we're going to make sure we go back over it and understand why. So it could be pawn endgame, rook endgame. But I think at like, you know, a 1600 level going up, you should definitely have, you know, full knowledge of basic rook endgames, basic king and pawn endgames, opposition, all checkmating patterns. So that goes for like even bishop and knight. I think once you're at the 1600 level, I have a video actually we uploaded to our second YouTube channel, !more. I think it's the command in chat. We have a second YouTube channel. I think there's a video that we uploaded recently where I show you guys how to checkmate with a bishop and a knight. It's an old video I made like 4 or 5 years ago. I can't even remember. And I think the video is like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes long, and every 1600 should be able to check me with a bishop and knight after watching it. So that's something that's also going to be involved. Yes, we do have things like be conscious of where the rooks go. And the reason that I have it written so vaguely, it's like, hey, put your rooks on the best squares is the rule for habits. The reason I have it so vague is because that's not really a new rule. That's sort of a reminder from level 3. In level 3, we started to become more conscious of where our rooks go. We don't just put them in the middle no matter what. We make sure to think about where the rooks go. Hey, let's bring it to an open file, not just blindly put it in the middle. Nordike, thanks for the 3 months. So there's a few things, but I would say that a few openings to touch up. Namely, with white, we're no longer going to be just playing the 4 knights. So that's kind of a big deal, I guess, or a shift. Okay, so that's one of them. Probably one of the biggest ones, I would say. So with e4, you'll notice a bit of a difference, but most of the openings from level 3 are going to stay exactly the same. Okay, most of the openings are going to stay exactly the same. And yeah, we're going to focus a bit more on endgames and on removing some of those restrictions that we've been playing with this whole time. So it'll get a lot more loose, a lot more open. d4? Oh, no, we're not playing d4. I mean, we're playing e4, but we're not just going to play the knights out like that. It's not the most ambitious opening. But we're definitely sticking with e4, 100%. So that's the idea. First of all, what rating are we at? I think we're at about 1550. That's where we left off. We're on the VBKN account. We're going to stick with 5-minute games. Probably one of the only things that I've kept from previous levels is never resign. And I think this is going to be the last level where I have that one there. But yeah, we're 1550 right now. That was from level 3. But when you guys are following along, you guys might get to different levels with the same rules. You know, it might be lower, it might be even higher. So, without further ado, let's get into the habits, and we'll see if right off the bat there's already some things that I can try to explain that are a bit different in level 4. All right. Okay, so I said we were sticking with e4, and I mean it. Okay, we didn't get e4, e5, so you know I can explain some of that later. We have the French. So for now, I'm going to stick with, oh, it's not the French. I was going to say, I'm going to stick with the same variation we've been playing. He goes d6. I'm not going to read into this too much. Yeah, anytime your opponent does something sort of unambitious, doesn't take the center, I would always, yeah, just bring the 2 pawns out, bring the knights, something nice and easy. Get castled. So we haven't done anything to level 4 yet, and he's doing a few level 1 things. G5. Well, we'll drop the bishop back. Goes knight h5. Okay. So at the moment, I don't think there's anything about our game that has anything to do with the new level, right? I think this is all pretty much how we would play maybe at any level, even I don't know, level 1 or 2. So he's played g5. King's going to be a little bit weaker. That's something we'll keep in mind. But for now, I'm probably just going to, yeah, continue to capture towards the center. Queen out, still bring my rook to the middle. And play from there. So he's played the move knight a6. At this point, I'm not really going to hesitate. If people are offering you free pawns, I'm not even sure if this is necessarily the best, but if people are offering me free pawns, I think I'll take it. Okay. Am I doing gambits? Gambits are okay. Yep. But the thing is, we've already established a lot of our openings. So, you know, basically I'm just saying that I think gambits are okay now, although I wouldn't change up a lot of the openings that I've already decided on. But there are going to be some new ones. Okay, why am I taking this? Because it's a queen trade, and I just won a pawn. So I'm going to, yeah, happily take that. Okay, so now we have the knights against the bishops, which you guys should know, means we probably want to keep things closed. So first of all, gonna bring the rook to the middle. Our Schmatz 5 subs. He goes b5, not only stopping b4, but if he plays b4, I'm gonna lose my pawn. So a3 makes a lot of sense to stop that. But what do we know? We know that if we keep the position closed, we'll be pretty happy. Okay. It's a free pawn for the moment. It's a free pawn for the moment. Nice thing after d5 is that especially on level 4, but even on level 3, we should be finding some tactics here. Can anyone help me out as Arshmatz gifts 5 subs there? Thanks a lot, buddy. 5 subs. He's gifting to make sure we spot the tactic. Knight e5, a great move. A great move. But definitely pawn takes pawn is your idea. Why do we have these tactics in the position? Because our rooks are in the middle, right? So we're going to take this. He decides to take here because if he took this way, there was going to be knight takes. So from here, we have a couple things to take. In terms of pawn structure, I would probably take here so that this pawn stays isolated. That would be my first thought, rather than taking here, because then his pawns are together. So there's just some nice moves like knight e5 here, for example, but we're going to stay pretty simple to start off with just pawn takes pawn. Okay, he takes back. Put a knight in the middle of the board. Goes here, and well, at this point, when you're peaking up to level 4, you should be on the lookout for moves like knight takes d5 here. I'm going to keep it simple with rook e3, getting out of the pin, maybe doubling the rooks. Knight takes bishop is going to happen next. Why? Because that's a trade, right? I want to trade pieces. Okay, now my knight has to move. Can we sack pieces now? We definitely can sacrifice pieces, 100%. Okay, our knight has to move, and I guess the nice thing here is we can fork the king and the pawn, and we're definitely okay with the result because, hey, it's another trade. It's another trade. Well, knight against bishop, I'm definitely going to keep the position closed, but if my opponent is going to give me material to open it up, I'm not going to say no. Okay, so in the endgame, I'm sort of going to stick with what I've talked about before, but I think you're going to notice a lot better technique as we get to level 4. So this is where I'm going to play this position, what I would say, much better than I would have at any other level. And afterwards, I'm going to sort of explain it. Because I think the end games are a big focus for level 4. That's one of the areas that I think at the 1600 level, you're going to stand out from your opponents very easily if you're good at end games. So I'm going to stick with the sort of pass pawn, push the pass pawn principle here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Right. We're really gonna, give up the pawns in favor of just pushing this guy all the way home. Okay, for example, here, I think we keep pushing, so we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it. He goes here, king c4, king back. Let's try king d2 just for now. I'm trying to stop this, and at least we get our queen in the end. Maybe we have this. And we, at best, save a draw. At best, save a draw. So I think we should look right at that rook end game. That was a really instructive one. because I think there's a very clear difference between how you might approach that at level 3 and how you might approach it at level 4. And I'm excited to improve everyone's rook endgames, because I think the rook endgame we had was a good example of a completely winning game. Completely winning game for white, but I think I played it a little bit more like level 3, and you saw how tricky it was. Even though I got a queen, I lost everything in that position, right? I lost everything. So let's have a look here. I'm just gonna jump to the end game. Actually, I don't really want to check. Here, I'm just gonna jump to here. So this is the position where I was saying basically white has a convincing advantage, I would say. So I'm just gonna use my opponent's moves. He goes h5. I go king out. Here I should have probably played king d3 to make more of a point, but I kind of rushed with rook c5. But we can still use rook c5. So in this endgame, what did I do immediately was, as soon as I had the endgame, what did I do is, first of all, I played rook here. And why is that such an important move? Number one rule in the endgame, especially rook endgame, if you ever can cut your opponent's king off on the last rank, do it. Like, if you can ever cut this king off to the point where it can never even approach the pawns, it's a huge advantage. So right here, I'm in a very fortunate position where my rook's already doing that. So to perform a defensive task like rook e2 versus rook c7, it would be night and day. I would also not want to go rook d7. He's going to take my pawn. I'm going to take his pawn, and he might be able to escape. So basically, I want to go rook here, bring my king to defend all my pawns, and then use my rook to maybe go pick up his pawn, because his king will be too far away. So that's why I mentioned that my move here was a little bit too hasty. Rook there, we should just bring the king over. Nice and simple. But my opponent has sort of made a lot of blunders in the endgame. There's no way he should have no pawns near his king. This is already a big mistake. His king's cut off. The only way out is to like walk over here. It takes a long time, and my rook can swing over and take all his pawns when he does that. So this is already really good for white. I think the king should just slide over. I ended up going rook c5. It's a little bit hasty because we can see that if I take this, he takes there. However, if he plays king here, what was I going to do? Because all his pawns are so far advanced, I was simply going to give him a check. His king would go somewhere, and then I could swing around behind them. Right? And at some point, these pawns are going to fall. They're too weak. So that brings me to another point. What is the absolute best pawn structure in a rook endgame? Pawn here, pawn here, pawn here. Best pawn structure for me. Pawn here, pawn here, pawn here. So why is that the best pawn structure in a rook endgame? I think for this, I might need to jump back to the analysis board and just show you. Yeah, this will be the easiest. Just show you on a board where I can toss the pieces around. Okay, so let's say we have a position like this. Who's happier in this position? Black is happier, period. Why? Because white's king is in a position where there's absolutely zero chance it can ever approach the position because the rook is cutting it off. And that's because the f-pawn is pushed. So the f-pawn is often one around your king that you want back so that it acts as a shelter. Black's king can approach and can walk right up the board because it's got this guy. Why is this the best pawn structure? Because it takes... Oh, I guess we got... still setting up the position. Let me just go like that. Why is this the best pawn structure? It takes the most time for your opponent to take your pawns. Do you remember my opponent's pawns in the game? 1, 2, 3. That means if my rook gets here, I take a pawn, take a pawn, I take a pawn. 1, 2, 3. In this position, I take a pawn, I move, I take a pawn, I move, I take a pawn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it'll take your opponent the maximum amount of time to remove all your pawns from the board, which is very valuable when pawns are being pushed. So if I'm trying to create a pass pawn, and you're trying to create a pass pawn, and I can remove your 3 pawns in 3 moves, but it takes you 5 moves to remove my pawns, then my pass pawn is going to have a 2-move head start. And even a single move in a chess game is very valuable. Do you try to advance them in the same formation? No. I mean, you could. It's not special. The only thing that's special is that your F pawn staying on the 7th or the 2nd rank is helpful because it lets your king get out, and then the G pawn and H pawn gives you more space. Plus, it's all connected in a pawn chain. Every pawn defends each other. So definitely the king encroaching here is exactly what you want to do. You know, as black, and as white, you can't do it. So this is a very basic endgame because this endgame that I'm showing you is drawn. So it doesn't really, like, don't take this example too seriously. This is more to show you guys the value of having pawns like that, right? If black's pawns were, I don't know, like this, it would be a little bit worse. You know, maybe white could play pawn here, and none of black's pawns could move. There's just different reasons why it's the best pawn structure, but this is sort of what you're aiming for in every rook endgame. So what you'll see if you watch a like a top level game is if there's ever a rook endgame, you'll slowly start to see the grandmasters put their pawns like this, and it might look like nothing. So you might have a position like this, you know, like this on the board, and what's white going to do in this position? He's going to play this move. What's his next move? He's going to play that. Like, both sides are just going to naturally put their pawns like this because they understand it's the strongest pawn structure to have. So you might notice that if you get into some games, or if you watch some top level games. If you ever catch a rook end game, you'll probably notice almost every strong player ends up doing this. If you're up a pawn, you might want to change the structure to try to win, but this is a very, very common pattern to see. So anyhow, in my game that I just played, I didn't really have that luxury because my pawns were doubled, and my opponent kind of put them all in a row. So you see, if I take my opponent's pawns, it might take me 4 moves, right? And you see how my pawns were actually no better, right? They were actually easy, 1, 2, 3 to take. So my pawns weren't very well placed, but unfortunately they were doubled. I couldn't do much about that. So in level 3, what I would do is I'd say, yeah, just push that pass pawn. Level 4, what would I say? I would say, you know, we can try to defend our pawns if we have for sure a winning pass pawn there. So, you know, even something in this position like, you know, rook here and rook here. Just small defensive thing followed by pushing those pawns like we know and we love, like we did in level 3. So it's just like a very small nuance to add on as we improve our level, that we're not just going to kamikaze push pass pawns and lose everything else on the board, right? We're going to, you know, make sure we don't bleed dry. Because what happened in the game, if you guys watched, I sent the pawn all the way, but look at everything I'm losing. I'm losing all my pawns. My king is being pushed back. I lost my center pawn and my rook, all for a queen. You know? And then I was fortunate to get a draw. Okay, so just a few things. We're going to get into the next game. Don't want to go crazy into an endgame lecture right now, but as I play rook endgames over the course of level 4, I'm going to periodically, or maybe very often, stop and talk about a few of the reasons why we're playing certain moves and some things to look out for. So already, what do we know? We don't just, you know, kamikaze send the pass pawns when we have them, unless our position is relatively stable and defended, because we don't want to lose our entire position just to queen a pawn. Sometimes that works, but not all the time. And let's see if he plays e5. My hypothesis for level 4 habits is that we are not going to see a lot of e5. Or maybe not a lot, but we're going to see a lot less. A lot less. I think as you move up into like the 15 to 1900 range, what you end up seeing a lot of is Sicilian for sure, and let's just say other openings, I don't know, unorthodox openings, whatever it is. But Caro-Kann, Sicilian, I think we'll see a lot more. E5, it's obviously going to be popular, but I think you see that a ton below 1500, and it goes down as you go up in rating. So we're going to stick with our thing about playing d5 and kicking the knight around. Okay. Trade in the middle. Exactly wrong. D5. 100%. Okay. Let's, bishop's out, castle. Okay. And bishop out here is exactly where I want to go. I'm just going to throw the move h3 in so the bishop doesn't get bothered by the knight. But yeah, his bishop is already not looking great. And this is a small thing that we basically learned from the opening that we usually do. Play d5 early when there's a knight there, threaten it, push it around. Usually works out for us. Chess Society, a raid with 24 people usually works out for us as well. Hello, hello. Welcome, gang. All right, we get to react to this, guys. I've told you before, how do we deal with sacrifice on h3? We've actually discussed this in level 3. Who remembers? He has some evil intentions for sure. So if I had a knight on f3, I would say ignore it, and I would play knight h2, but I don't have a knight there. So I would say king h2 just defends that. And now, remember, these pieces don't look very smart if they can't execute that plan. So if I simply defend this pawn, what's he going to do? He's going to have to move the queen again, most likely. Right? There's no way he does. There's no way he can avoid that altogether. Thanks for the shout out there from Velamek. But yeah, Chess Society, appreciate the raid. Like I said, it's truly become a habit to be blessed with the raid from Chess Society during these habit streams. So I really appreciate it. Rook c1, open file, right? And you see that queen? It has to move again. So let's continue. I'm just gonna get developed here. Queen up. Queen and bishop work together on this diagonal. The rook can go into the middle of the board, and we can sort of finish our development here. Okay, here he goes. F5. First of all, if I take that, you guys should be able to see that sneaky queen. Let's not forget, if I take, there's going to be e4 attacking my bishop and giving me check. So I am definitely not able to take that. Okay, so f3, what does f3 do? Well, if he takes, I have a nice choice of how I want to take back. And if he plays f4, again, my bishop has another nice choice about where to go. But this pawn structure is very, very solid. Everything defends everything else. We are close to 200k. We are. Okay, he goes e6. Now, when I'm getting attacked over here, I was about to say that we should play in the center. So my first instinct when I see a move like e6 is, thank you very much. I'm happy to open things up. This is exactly what I want. I want to play in the middle of the board. So there's probably some good moves here, like bishop c4, I would say is a fantastic move. Hitting this pawn, getting ready to deal with that threat. I'm just going to take it. Try to keep things a little bit more simple, let's say. And let's move this bishop out of the way so we can maybe play queen here. Why would I want to play queen here? It's a queen trade. He's attacking me over here. That's usually what you want to do. If someone's attacking you and you get to trade queens, their attack is, trust me, it's going to be a lot worse. It's going to be a lot worse. So we're threatening the bishop and the queen. We'll see what he wants to do. Arshmat must be loving these level 4 habits already. What has that been, like 15, 20 subs in just since we started here. Thank you, Arshmat. And he played what I would say is a great move. Queen e8, so he's keeping the bishop defended, and he's not trading queens. That's great. We're not going to fall for this, which is going to blunder our queen. Okay, important. Anybody have any ideas? Well, I mentioned play in the center, so a move like knight d5 should not surprise you. That's often what you want to do when it comes to the middle game. Arshmat says he's drunk. Ah, that makes more sense. It's more on brand for someone to be drunk and donating than enjoying habits and donating. So that actually makes a lot more sense. Let's take that back. Now, queen e6, trading queens. Another reason why I'm going to focus a little bit more on trades during this level is that it's going to help me get more end games. So that's a bit of a selfish thing. I want to get more end games because I want to work on end games with you guys. That's a big part of level 4. So you're probably going to see me go for a few more trades than usual. But Arshmats, whether you're drunk or not, subs are subs, buddy, and support is support. So I appreciate it all the same, man. You know, we like to have a good time here. Get our drink on. Just doing a bit of learning here. But we'll surely be joining you this evening. Depends if you make it that far. Rook e8. Great move by him. Let's go for a trade. Let him take the pawn and pin him. Yeah, absolutely. But it doesn't mean we have to, you know, play the opening any different. Rook c7. My favorite move to do. But knight d5, although it's probably playable for me, a little too risky. So I'm going to go for something which sort of follows what I was talking about. Rook d1 to trade with him. Let's defend our pawn. It's quite possible, Lancelor. It's quite possible. He wants the pawn for sure. I see that. I see that. Bishop c4 is definitely an idea. We didn't have to defend this, but this gives us a few options. Maybe we can try to get rid of the rook. Aha. Well, this is great. Because now we get to play rook d7, and you guys are wondering, what about bishop c4? Well, don't worry. You know, it's coming. It's coming. I was just saving it for right now. Now that he can't defend his rook. The bishops have started to become a big pain for my opponent. Check, and I think we're going to... I mean, either bishop capturing here looks great. I'm going to go with the rook. Right here. It's rather helpful. Rather helpful. If bishop takes f8, I think he had h5, so it wasn't necessarily like a forced mate, but he kind of walked into a mate there. So a bit unlucky. Bit unlucky. I thought he played well. As for our game, one of the main things that we paid attention to was we identified his threat, and we played king h2. Right? This was actually quite a big move, because you see what it did. It caused him to like throw his queen over here, and neither of these pieces could move for a large part of the game. So I thought it was just a small move, but it made a big difference. Okay, we're playing. We're in the 1600s here. We got to be careful. We've just seen the move d4, and we usually play d5 against this. I'm gonna start with the move. I'm not gonna play this game. I'm not gonna play this game. I'm gonna go to the next game. So like I said, I'm gonna play knight f6. And when we see this this setup, we know the guy's going for a London. So the good thing about this is you already know that he's low testosterone. We're gonna play d5, right? We've already talked about what setup we're gonna play, and nothing has changed from level 3 to level 4. So keep your same setup. If you guys remember, d5, c5, right? We've done this before, right? So this has been our setup. Okay, and what did we say? After this, we're going to bring the queen out. Arshmats is gifting some testosterone deficient subs, 5 of them to be exact. Welcome to 5 new London players. Queen b3. Again, this is all level 3 stuff. What did we say we're going to do? c4. Okay, if he takes, we're happy to take back. Open up our rook. If he plays queen c2, what do? I know it looks like a fancy move, but this is something that we've looked at from earlier. Okay, so this is just something we have to remember by now. Thanks again, Arshmats. Okay, we've seen this before. We've seen this before. And we've actually played almost this entire game before. Almost played this entire game before. There we go. Okay. Okay, and we've also been here before. Might be surprising, but we have been here before. What have we played? Be impressed if you guys remember. Mash, thanks for the prime sub. Grey Hay, 5 months. So we've actually been in pretty much this exact same position before. And it was actually in this position that we had a very serious discussion about where the rooks go. And I said, where do the rooks go? Because everything's closed off, it's pretty hard to decide where they go. But rook f to c8, as some people are remembering, is exactly where I decided to put the rook, leaving this guy on the a file. Kind of seems surprising, I know. My opponent goes b3, makes a ton of sense. And after I do something like pawn takes, well, I mean, I think I'm very happy to have a rook on c8. So we get to introduce, or at least mention another concept here. That concept being, let's say, a backwards pawn. If this pawn gets to go here safely, then, all is okay. I'm going to play the move knight a5, offering a trade. I'm kind of hopeful that I get to play against this this pawn, because it's one of the things I wanted to focus on for this level. But backwards pawn, meaning that it can't really play the move. Well, you can't really play the move you just played, basically, is what it means. If he takes it, well, he should be losing a bishop. So basically, that was just a free pawn for me. What he would have to do instead is he would have to leave that pawn there, be unable to move it, and then what I would do is I would slowly build up pressure on it, and that's the weakness of it being a backwards pawn. So obviously, my opponent hated his backwards pawn so much, he thought I'd rather lose a piece. That's what he said to himself. He woke up and he made that decision today. I mean, this is a pin. We're just we're adding pressure to that bishop. That is not a that's not even a level 5 idea, That's not a level 10 idea. That's a level 1 idea. Maybe level 2. Pin it and win it. So, 95. You're not gonna convince me not to take it. You're not gonna convince me that that's not a free bishop, which it is. You're also gonna have a hard time convincing me that that's not a rook for me to take. Okay. Let's take our pass pawn and shove it. Let's send it right up the board. C2, that's right. That's what we call a big level 4 move. C2. Boom. He goes queen b7. I'd imagine that there's a few people who have some suggestions here about how to proceed. A lot of options. But essentially, we need to remove this rook from in front of the pawn if we want to queen it. Is queen e1 a win? Well, queen e1, rook takes queen is an idea, but if he just moves his rook or something, the only thing we've done is we've taken our c pawn and thrown it off the board. We didn't actually win anything, you know what I mean? We gave up a queen and we got a queen. Congrats. Queen d2, however, actually makes a threat. Right? Actually threatens the rook with check, something he has to react to, and I think he has a hard time reacting. keep in mind you might not want to move this bishop, right? Because that pawn there on f7 is attacked. Okay, comes up with the move h4. Don't think you guys need too much convincing. There we go. Queen takes c1. Now, all we need to do is move the queen and then get another one. I know there's some people in the chat who are probably thinking of queen h1 right now to get a new queen. Once again, you guys haven't won anything. You just got another queen and took your c2 pawn and threw it off the board. So let's move the queen out of the way and also lend some support to this bishop, which was hanging. g4. I'm going to get another queen. And at this point, when you have multiple queens on the board and your opponent plays a move like g5, you don't need to sit there and react to his moves, because look at the firepower that you have. This is enough to win the entire game. And if that's not enough, yeah, take his as well. You know what I mean? Like, just feel free. There's no need for him to have a queen on the board when we can have both of them. The game started with 2 queens, and it ended with 2 queens. That's just the way she goes. Very poetic. Now, we didn't actually get a chance to talk about this backwards pawn, which is a little unfortunate. I was hoping that my opponent would be able to stomach the fact that he had a backwards pawn for longer than a single move, but he couldn't, actually. This is already a pretty serious threat. He's about to lose this pawn. However, the idea, let's say that, say in a position like this, he did something else. I don't know. Queen here. I'm going to bring my piece here. Okay, what's going on here? He has a backwards pawn. The same way you treat a backwards pawn, you treat an isolated pawn. You don't necessarily focus all your attention on attacking it. Usually the first step is controlling the square in front of it. Okay? Control the square in front of it. If you control the square in front of it, it won't be able to move, and thus it will be stuck where it is, and it's easier to attack something that can't move. Okay? It's much easier to attack something that can't move. There's a reason that they make sure to to tie up the people they capture in those Bond movies. They tie up our friend James. They don't leave him there with all his devices. So that's our friend James Bond, and we need to tie him up first. So we're gonna step in here with the knight, capture back with the rook, double the rooks, and once this pawn seriously can't move anywhere, then we're gonna look to add pressure to it. Maybe with this bishop or this knight, moves like that. But it's important with pawns like this, or maybe other weaknesses, that you don't just immediately attack them, because sometimes when you just attack them, what they do is they move up a square, and all your energy is focused on that square that it was on previously, and you have nothing defending it from moving forward. So stop the advance, and then add the pressure. Okay? So that's just something small, but backwards pawns. We didn't really get a chance to endure the backward pawn here, because our opponent lost quite quickly after. But hopefully we'll get another chance to talk about that. That's just a brief introduction. Here we go. Okay, so let's see what he does. If we get e5, we don't. We get this, and I think we've all more or less got this Scandinavian on lock in terms of how we handle it. You want to get the knight out, attack the queen. You want to throw a pawn in the center of the board, as always. You want to get these 2 pieces out to their desired squares. Okay, let's put the bishop here. 6. Let's castle. Arshmats, 5 subs. I'm telling you, Arshmats, he might be throwing y'all the I'm drunk card, but I think my man's having a good time. I think he's building some habits. Whether those habits are about locating the bottom of his liquor bottle, or what you see on your screen here, I think it's commendable all the same. Castles. Let's keep developing. Thank you, Arshmat. Tons of support already so far, man. Okay, our bishop gets attacked. I'm not a big fan of this diagonal because it's got these pawns here. I'm going to go bishop back here. Seems like a much more open diagonal. Bishop to b7. I don't think there's any reason that I would want to avoid bringing these rooks to the middle, so I'm going to do so. Hey, trucking guy, good to see ya. Yeah, all right. So we've got the rooks in the middle. You know, something like h3, complete the development. Makes sense. Also, knight e5, a move we want to get used to. So I'm going to throw that in right now. Knight e5, great move to throw in. You know, if they take, we want to take back with a pawn. Put a lot of pressure on this knight. Remember, we're also utilizing this pin here. Hey, takes. I think we know what we're going to do. We're going to take with the pawn. Queen c6. Guys, does he know I'm at level 4 right now? Does he know I'm at level 4? Are we falling for this? No. Hey, here's the 30 more. Thank you. Tier 3, just that blue. Appreciate that. I don't think we're falling for this, guys. We gotta be better for it. You would fall for it? No way. No way. Who said that? Basil all? You'd fall for it, really? How do we not fall for it? Does anyone have any ideas? Bishop e4. Well, bishop e4, remember, if everything trades here, our bishop's actually going to be hanging there at the end. Sort of seems like trades a lot of pieces. I feel like I'm on the verge of winning something. I don't think I want to go for these trades. I think I just want to go for something like this. Right? This is the, one of the most effective ways to deal with a diagonal. One pawn in front and supported by another pawn. Tough to handle. Tough to handle. So we're going to play f3. I think it's the most natural response. Okay. Gives us a check. Once again, I think we have a choice. King in the corner, block with the bishop. I think king in the corner makes the most sense. I think it makes the most sense. Getting out of the line of fire there. 95. That looks very takeable. Very takeable. We also have a few other options. One of the most exciting options we have is a move like queen e4. So let's examine what happens after something like this. Queen f1 would be a great move, Kogan, but I'm still picking moves that I think are fairly logical. And queen f1 is not the most obvious to most people. I think f3 would be played, 9 times out of 10. And I think we still have a good position. Okay, he plays g6. Great move. Great move. Now, we've started to talk a little bit about, in level 4, weak squares. And where are they? They're right here. You don't have to look very far. So we're going to take the queen, and we're going to put it on h4. That's our plan. So I know that I've told you about my plan. But the thing is, I could even tell my opponent about my plan, and it's not like he'd have an easier time defending it. It's a tough thing to deal with. I want to put those 2 pieces on those 2 squares. Cast and C. I get to show you guys something very fun after. Well, let's go ahead and take it. Let's go ahead and take it. Rook e8 is a great move. Twinkle toes. Takes with the pawn, another great move. I think my opponent's playing super well, by the way. So I'm just going to execute the first part of that plan, which was put that bishop on that square. Okay, and look at the defense by my opponent. He's stopping my queen from going there. He is showing exactly what to do when you're faced with some weak squares. He's bringing his bishop to defend the squares that I'm attacking. I think he's playing very well. Okay, maybe we like double the rooks. Chuck Gravity, thanks for the 5 subs. So too caught. I don't know how to say that name very comfortably, actually. Hopefully you can help me. Scott, thanks for the 5 subs. Let's try to double the rooks. The nice thing is I think we can throw in h3 very soon. He wants to trap our bishop. Let's say no. Chris, hey, that's a lot easier. Appreciate the support, Chris. I like his moves. I'm going to play that h3. He's playing fantastic. So the squares are still very weak. However, I think what's going to happen is I'm probably going to play this and see if I can crash through with a rook. I'm not sure if I will be successful or not, however. And if he takes, I want to take back. Playing h4, definitely reasonable. I think it would be well met by queen e7, if you want my opinion, but still would be a very, very logical idea. Let's take it, and let's take it again. Because I have 13 seconds, and because I'm attacking, I'm looking to keep the queens on the board, as opposed to off. And we'll see what he does here, because there's a few ways that he can go wrong. Like queen g7 is a very natural way to go wrong. He plays a great move, queen f7. I'm going to bring the queen back, but he's getting closer and closer to earning this result. Rook e7, big threat. Something for him to watch out for. He didn't exactly watch out for it. I'm going to do it. See what he wants to do. What would you guys do in this situation? Your opponent has 6.6 seconds. What's the correct response? If you're black, is it this? Probably not. I'm going to give him a check. And guess what? I'm going to give him another check. And guess what? I'm going to give him another check. And I'm going to make a draw. Do you think he's, I was going to say, do you think he's going to give up his queen and try to win? So, I mean, what should you do here if you're black? If your opponent has 6 seconds, just take here. You know what I mean? You don't even have to calculate the repercussions here. You'll flag. You'll flag the guy. You'll flag the guy. Why did I give him a draw there? The other way around. Why did he give me a draw? So now I get to show you guys something very exciting. I'm not sure if you guys noticed it in the game, but my opponent had a chance for what we call KO around here. Did anyone see the KO from my opponent? We played queen h4, and after knight takes knight, you know, how enticing is a double bishop checkmate like that? Oh, I mean, this is just as cool as it gets, right? Queen takes f3, double bishop mate against the lone king. Now, do I have to take that queen? Of course not. I don't need to recapture this, but it's still quite a convincing move. Still quite a convincing move. Okay, opening, not the best, I would say, but knight e5, thought we had a good position here. Okay, even the way the entire game went. We went for an attacking idea, and we started to expose something we're going to focus a little bit more on, which is color complex. So he went here. What do I actually want to do here instead of taking is knight e4. Why would knight e4 be probably a little bit better? Just because it continues to focus on those squares. It also threatens to get rid of the dark square bishop. And when you see pawns like this, you should immediately be looking at the exact opposite. Squares like that. Which pieces can access those squares? Dark square bishop, queen, knight, right? Even the pawn is helping here. So when it comes to color complex, this is a game where we're starting to get a feel for as soon as we see weakness here in these pawns, we immediately jump on it, capitalize on it, try to get in these dark squares, and the rest of this game was pretty much based on that. Is the dark square bishop my good bishop in the endgame? I wouldn't really go that far. I think when you're in the middle game color complex, you're going to focus on, which is your good piece in the middle game, not so much the end game. Here in the middle game, this is a very important piece. If I just had this bishop, you see how it's not actually that effective. Okay, e4. One thing we get to talk about a little more is, first of all, we're going to keep playing e4, e5. But there's a little bit more theory, especially in the Ruy Lopez, that we're going to be utilizing. Because one thing that's killing us right now, even in level 3, was c3, d4. So we need an answer to that now that we're in level 4. We just absolutely do. So, anyways, he goes here. I'm going to start with this knight. If he plays knight there, then I can play bishop here. Not to blunder. Well, I say blunder because it's something we want to stay away from. Not to blunder. Knight g5. Okay, he goes here. He wants to play knight to g5 now. I'm going to play knight f6. Now, we've talked about playing h6. But what I'm hoping is that I can get a game right now where he plays bishop g5. I'm really like trying to get him to play it. And I want to explore the possibility, as he takes a long time to actually play this move. I don't think he's actually going to play it, but I'm trying to invite my opponent to do that so we can explore h6, g5. Right, because h6, g5 is we're finally maybe going to get an idea of when this move is good and when this move is bad. For now, it looks like I'm just sticking to the usual. Why no channel points? We gamble money here. Bishop a2. Okay. I think we want to just bring the rook to the middle. Hey, he played it. All right. So we have bishop g5 played. So let's play h6. Okay, and I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna play g5, and let's discuss the resulting position. So we played g5. Gross. I can barely live with myself. One of the moves, if you ever are in a position where you need to play g5 and it happens, it's on the board. One of the moves that usually follows up g5 almost always, and this goes for g4 as well, is king g7. So I'm going to play it right now. But this is almost always a move that follows up. Number one, if they try to open things up with h4, there you go. The open h file is something that you want to be able to contest in one move with, let's say, rook to h8. So it doesn't mean that the h file is always going to get open, but in case it does, it's very helpful to have the rook there. Now, imagine his queen was on d2. After a move like h4, if I played my pawn up, well, maybe I'm going to lose this pawn. So the king also helps to defend this pawn, which is quite useful on this diagonal because that's where these pawns are actually the weakest. A move like h4 happens. If I take or push, you can see I'm going to be forced to do one of those things. I want my h6 pawn defended, right? It also helps to just solidify, the knight and the pawn. And very often in positions where you do this diagonal is not as dangerous as this diagonal, so it helps to get my king off this diagonal, for example. So all those things are good. That's why I played king g7 immediately. He's played h4. It's the most logical response to my pawn structure. You do not, almost never, probably never want to take. Just stay away from that. let's play g4. So we want to keep it fairly closed. We don't want to open up the h file. That's just ludicrous. So we're going to play g4. Okay, it goes knight h2. And something to keep in mind is after bishop takes bishop, he's going to be threatening to win a pawn on h5. Okay? So Twinkle I know most of this is unprincipled, but we're exploring something new. We're just exploring h6, g5 and how it looks. So we're going to play h5 to support that pawn, and he's going to play f3, and I'm happy he's playing these moves. I'm happy he's playing these moves because he's challenging. He's challenging the idea. Okay, well, now the pawn's threatened. Again, do we really want to take and open things up? Let's say no. Let's add a little bit more support to that pawn on g4. But you can see the kind of position that I am in just by playing g5. And my opponent, I'm really happy he's playing this way, has played all very logical and very reasonable moves. He's now threatening queen g5, which is going to win my knight. If you guys didn't see that, it's actually winning the knight. It's not just a check, it actually wins the knight. So how do I deal with this? Well, now I'm going to have to move my knight, right? It's one of king g6, still loses my knight. Rook g8, still loses my knight. Right? So it's, all of a sudden I have to move my knight. Well, where can I move my knight? I got to go like h7, right? To cover g5. But hopefully you guys can see the type of game that I'm playing just as a result of playing g5. So this is why I've been saying, don't rush into g5. You think it solves your problems, but look at the way my opponent's playing. He would put like everyone in the chat in the dirt. He's playing some really logical moves right now, but I mean, I have to play almost perfectly to not get completely checkmated here or lose a piece or something. And this is all a product of playing h6 and g5. Okay, so that's just what happens. The opening is tough. The opening is tough. And in this position, I think I'm pretty screwed actually. Right, because I have to leave a knight here. The position is like opening up against my king. The position is very bad. Put it that way. That's the best, the nicest thing I could say. I think he should have taken this way. Making a threat here, and I'm probably going to get my king off the open file, but I think this game is far gone. And I hope that it's a bit of an illustration of what happens when you play g5, because your opponent's playing the way that my opponent played is not out of the question. I don't think he played, exceptional, but I think he played logical moves that just completely injure me. Very tough to deal with. King doesn't look too safe. No, definitely not. Definitely not. And obviously the time is going to be an issue here, but this is a game that, based on how well my opponent played, is definitely one that he deserves to win. He's bringing his knight in. I think this game has been a pretty decent example of why we should be afraid of g5. So it doesn't mean we're not going to ever play it, but I'm assuming at some point in the series we're going to see an example of when playing g5 is actually going to be very strong. And we're going to see what that looks like in comparison. But right here, we just saw g5 getting played for no reason, right? In the opening, was there any reason for me to just play g5 here? Absolutely not. Like, this is completely unjustified, just like a random move. And you can see how quickly h4, you see how quickly it gets out of hand. The pawn moves up. All of a sudden, we have to defend the pawn. h5, sure, makes sense. f3, another attack the pawn. All the moves kind of make sense. Like, it doesn't feel like a position where I've done anything too crazy. After h4, I think I reacted with all the logical moves. You see what's happened. I've gotten into big trouble and basically lost the game because of it. Okay, so definitely something to keep in mind. There's a few patterns here to pay attention to. First of all, white's not castled. If he was castled, this move would have much less of a sting to it, right? There's no open h file. So that's one thing that's important, that he can still castle this way. That sucks. Right? If his king was there, that would be a lot better, right? And, after h4, g4, most of the moves that were played in the game were kind of forcing, okay? They were kind of forcing. After h4 is knight h7 a move? I mean, sure it's a move. There's lots of things that are moves. But knight h7, he gets an open h file. That's just going to be great for him. It's going to be really good for him. So this is just an example how quickly you can fall into trouble playing g5. Hopefully we'll get another example sometime within the level 4 habits, and we'll get to see where h6 g5 can actually be useful. But right here is an example of it not being good. My opponent played very well, so take note of how my opponent played. He tried immediately to open it up. He had a rook there, and then f3. I mean, here I'm already in trouble. He's threatening to take, use the f file. It's a tough position. It's a tough position. Okay, we're gonna play Ruy Lopez, and this is one of the things where in level 4 we're gonna perfect that theory just a little bit more. For example, bishop c5 is a move we've been playing. I'm going to stick to bishop e7, which is going to be theory, and after rook e1 is now threatening to win that pawn. So I'm going to play b5. Again, sticking to more theory. b5, not a move that we've usually been playing, but we want to perfect this opening theory. We've kind of been playing bishop c5, often blundering this pawn, but we've kind of made our way past it, gotten up to 1550, but we're going to play b5, and the line that we're going to go for basically is d6, castling, that sort of stuff. Okay, he plays c3. We're pretty thick into some opening theory right now. Let's castle. He plays h3. He doesn't want to see bishop g4 happen. Am I going to play other openings? Probably not against e4 for this level. We're going to work on e4, e5, and making sure that we know a little bit more about the opening, because we've actually done a lot of work in other openings, Caro-Kann, etc., etc. We haven't really touched e4, e5. It's one of the things we haven't dealt with. One of the things we haven't dealt with very much. So we're finally going to address that and then deal with it now. So let's play one of the. I mean, there's a lot of lines to play. Let's play one of the main lines, let's call it. Okay, d4. And clearly my opponent up to snuff. He definitely knows what he's doing. Now let's play queen c7. And I would say right now is basically as much, like more or less as much opening theory as you need to know. Let's bring our rook to e8. From here, I think we can still stick to a lot of the ideas that we had. Yeah, b3 is non-theory, but basically I'd like most of you guys to be able to get to this stage of the Ruy Lopez. That would be a good sign. So let's say h6. Probably at the next level, Mako, but again, a lot of these habits can apply to the openings that you're playing, but there's so many good openings to choose from. I'm not picking an opening based on it being the best. There are other great openings. Sicilian's fantastic, etc. So I'm not picking the openings because they're the only ones or whatever. So I think you can still apply the habits to some openings that you guys play. Let's play c4. We only have one square for our knight. I love the way he's playing it, by the way. And heads up, the way that our opponent is playing with the white pieces is actually exactly how we are going to try to play with the white pieces ourselves. So take note of what he's doing, because not only is he playing well, using a lot of the ideas from this opening, but we are going to take up the Ruy Lopez ourselves as white. When do I do the backwards knight move? When my knight's trapped, so I have to. Otherwise, I'm not a big fan of this. We're doubling rooks on what's going to be the only open file in the position. Still love the way my opponent is playing. He's killing it right now. And this whole game is going to look very, non-habitsy. But the reason I'm playing this way is because, let's say the Ruy Lopez is an opening that we're going to start playing with white and with black. So this is a good introduction. And this is perfect because he's playing amazing. He's playing amazing. I think he should just move the rook somewhere. I mean, it's definitely possible to do something like this, but yeah, he identifies a great move. Bring our rook down. We're not actually threatening anything, but we're bringing the rook down. And exciting, he's gone for a sacrifice. So now that he's sacrificed, what do we do? Well, let's try to do what we've been taught so far, which is we're going to take and immediately put our knight on h7. That's like the number one thing we've learned so far. And again, the next thing we've learned, and none of these are me actually calculating moves. It's just me putting my knight there and then me bringing my bishop there. I don't know if those are the best things to do, but that's sort of what we've been taught. It's what we learned to do when we're dealing with an attack. Okay. Let's bring the bishop. Pieces around your king. You're generally not going to shy away from a trade, for example. Another trade to be proposed, queen c8. He shouldn't want to take trades like this, but we're always going to offer them. Okay, we're going to take. And now, whether, the result of this game is something else, but I'd like to think that we did, I'd like to think we did a good job, at least defending the attack. At least defending the attack. We have a very uninspiring knight. Look at that poor guy. Can't move to any squares. He's just a waste of space at the moment. Feels bad. Feels bad for this guy. Look at him. He moves here, and where's he going? Some threats, some defense. Look at my pieces. Exactly, alpacas. We have to play, pawn here. Let's, take it. At least that's a square for me. Let's try to get some pre-moves in. Something like this. Knight f7. Those look like... Oh, let's take that. These look like reasonable pre-moves. Just knight d3, but I'm a little more interested in, trying to mate the guy somehow. Bishop h6. Unfortunately, he had a knight. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get my mate. We tried, boys. He's taking his time here. He's giving me false hope. Me thinking that I could flag him. We still have a chance. We still have a chance. Cisco's kid. So, have you guys noticed that a serious increase in level between level 3 and level 4? If you have, maybe it's because I have as well. I'm not talking about our level increasing. I'm talking about our opponents. Everybody today has, in my opinion, played a fantastic game. especially for 1550, 1600. So the opponent, the opposition is definitely getting tougher. Definitely getting tougher. Like, I think some of the games we've seen today have been fantastic. This guy just busted it like 25 moves of like thick Ruy Lopez theory or something. We definitely analyzed this one, but what I want to talk about is the opening, the Ruy Lopez. Okay. So what we just experienced was a closed position. And I wanted to experience a closed position because what you guys may have noticed is that we've never had a closed position, really. How many times have we had a closed position in this entire series where we've had to maneuver the pieces? Never. Like, that's just not a thing. I've always said when we can open the position, do so because of basically what we just saw. Right? The guy plays d5, closes the position, and it's very tough to handle. Very tough to handle. Okay, so what we're going to try to do is going to try to keep the position a little bit, just a tad bit more open. The game that we just got was very tough to play because we didn't have any place to put our rooks. You know what I mean? We had like 2 rooks doubled on the A file. I think it was a game that was very different from any Habits game we've ever played. And definitely our opponent played well, although he was playing book moves. So the way that he played, keep in mind, that's exactly how we're going to try to play. Okay, and look at his move. It's like, in fact, I mean, I'm afraid his accuracy is going to be tainted by his moves later, but his opening accuracy was probably near 100. So yeah, every move that he did here was like top notch. And even though the evaluation is around equal, I think that he's played fantastic. Snookeroo, that's exactly what I just said. We should try to play open games. So I'm showcasing how we're not going to be repeating this as black. As white, I don't mind repeating it because we don't need to make the same decisions as him. We don't need to close it up entirely. But as black, we are going to be opening the position up. But once again, that's a tough experience we just had. We just played a closed game against a guy maneuvering his pieces who knew exactly what to do. That's, I mean, look at our knight on b7. This guy sucked the whole game. So how can we keep the position a little more open? These are all book moves, d4. Obviously here we have an important choice. We can take this pawn, right? Because he might play d5 next. He might play d5 next. You know, if I bring the knight back to c6, he's going to go d5. If I go c takes d4, he's obviously going to take back this way. And now his knight can go to the c3 square. So there's a few moves I can do here. Something like, you know, bishop b7. Something like even pawn takes to a certain degree. You could just open the position up entirely, even though I wouldn't recommend that. Queen c7 makes a lot of sense as well. Did he make any moves that weren't perfect? He made loads of moves that weren't perfect, but he knew his openings. So that's just, you know, that's the guy who knows what he's doing at 15, 1600. So that's good for him. Good for him. But there's opening the position up this way. There's also this, which is, I would say, a little bit less common. Opening up this way, I would say that, you know, it makes a lot more sense to use the c pawn. And then even if we get a similar position to the game, there's definitely going to be an open c file for us to contend with. Why don't I want to open it entirely? It wouldn't be the worst decision, but you're going to see your, I mean, your opponent's pieces are going to be better placed than yours kind of every step of the way, right? You know, this pawn compared to this pawn, it's still a balanced game, but your opponent's pieces are going to be very well placed. You know, knights, bishops, every piece looks pretty happy. Not that our position's bad, but we don't have a lot of space. We don't have a lot of space. We should always seek to play open positions. Yes, that's the idea. I think if we continuously seek out open positions, then, you know, we'll be able to get more tactics, which is what you guys should be drilling. Like every Every single day. It's not just games that are going to get you to this level. You have to be doing the tactics in the background. So something like this, followed by queen c7. And, imagine he plays the exact same way. Much different, right? Now we have an open file to play on. This is not going to be something where he just closes everything down and sacks a piece over here. Okay? So for now, what we'll do to improve for next time is we'll take and play queen c7 and do very similar things. Bishop d7, bring a rook to the c file. At least that position makes a lot more sense in my opinion in terms of activating our pieces. Our knight doesn't end up like stuck on that weird square. If b4 happens, we can jump into c4. So that's what we'll do for now, but letting you guys know, Ruy Lopez is going to be our thing as white and as black. So that's going to be going forward. That's what I'm going to be utilizing at least. It's going to teach us a few things that we haven't done yet, haven't done much of. Maneuvering, some sort of closer look at pawn structures. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We haven't really got an e4, e5 game as white yet, actually. Okay, we've seen the French today, although our opponent didn't play this. They only played d6. Now we get d5, and we get to play what we have been playing against the French, which is knight bd2. Okay, knight there, and we have been playing bishop d3. And we see a cheeky line, something we haven't seen before. Knight b4. He wants to take my bishop. I don't want to play a closed position, which is why I'm trying to stay away from e5. It's not something we want to do. And if I go bishop here, he's going to go c6. He's going to go c6. So he's going to end up, winning a pawn here. So I'm going to try to react with queen here to take my bishop back. Not thrilled about it, but my opponent sprung some sort of new opening. I'm not gonna let it phase me though. Oh, we're scamming already, are we? Polar Bay ABC, thanks for the 5 subs. De Prestige with 10 months. Float along, fill your lungs with 500 bits, and Ipesk with 100 bits. Okay, goes bishop e7. Let's castle. Let's play rook e1. He's going to trade pieces. Okay, and hopefully where our pieces belong here is not too much of a mystery to you. First of all, the rook should always be on a semi-open file, and it looks like in this case the other rook belongs here. What about this bishop? Where should it go? Well, it can't really go to that square, or there's no need for it to go to that square. Where should it go? Well, f4 looks reasonable. So that's already like a good start of where I might put the pieces. Thanks, Casey Ingram, for the gifted sub. One after the other. Okay. I'm not going to think too hard on these moves, guys. Bishop f4. We already talked about it. c5. Okay. Definitely see what he's up to. I'm going to continue activating all my pieces. Hopefully, this is enough. Queen b6. A great move. A great move. Hopefully you guys can see that if I was still playing at level 3, I don't think we'd progress much higher. Seriously. I mean, we're just getting started with level 4. There's some things to get used to, but we're seeing a ton of new openings, and I think just generally speaking, opponents are playing very well. Opponents are playing very well. Just trying to defend that. Okay, h3 is on the horizon for me. Also, maybe bishop here. Whenever your opponent has 2 bishops, trading off your remaining bishop for his bishop of the same color is very, very often a good plan. I'd say almost always. Depends on the structure sometimes, but seriously, trading your bishop for the bishop of the exact same color in his position is really like an OP plan, kind of like a hack. If you ever literally have no idea what to do, that's a great place to start. Okay, he accepts. What am I probably doing next? I'm probably like doubling my rooks on the open file. We kept our scam alive here. Rim Creeper EU and our buddy Chris, both coming in with 5 subs. Meanwhile, Casey Ingram, I can't even count those. They're one at a time, but they're adding up. 5, 6, 7. I don't know where he's at, but he is gifting subs nonstop in the background. Casey Ingram, Rim Creeper. Thanks, Chris, as well. So, plans for white, each 3 rooks. All right, that's all I'm up to. That's all I'm up to. Okay. Double. Macabits. Holy smokes. Also getting involved. 5 subs. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Potent Ponables, 50 subs. We're out here trying to learn. But there's some real energy in the chat right now. I can feel it. Thank you guys. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Potent Ponables. Thank you, dude. $50 sub bomb. And that's not his first one. Potent Ponables. Man, he has been around for these habit sessions. I can't focus right now either. I haven't made a single move. Just going to play H3. Oh my goodness. Everyone's getting involved now. Potent, you are back on the hype. Oh my goodness. Okay, give me a sec here. Remember, guys, this is a habit stream, a respectable habit stream. What are we supposed to do here? Okay, I'm just gonna go for a trade. I'm just gonna go for a trade. Yeah, we're just gonna trade everything, boys. That's gonna be our plan. Because the hype is real right now, and I can't calculate. So we're just gonna trade everything. We're just gonna trade everything. Okay, C4. I have 3 pawns against 2. So I'm gonna try to put my queen here and push these pawns forward and just make a pass pawn. That's the only plan I've got, guys. That's what I'm going with because we got Just Add Blue, Green Chili 2-step, both coming in with 5 subs. We got this guy trying to draw me. We got, goodness, there's so many lads. Okay, Jesus, my God. Okay. 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 Give me a sec. Give me a sec. I'm gonna lose my voice calling out all these subs. Guys, thank you for the support. I'm glad that this queen endgame is that exciting to you. Personally, I thought it was a little bit dry for my taste. But listen, if you guys like this shit, I got more. I can play more queen endgames. I didn't realize this was such a fan favorite. I decided to play on for you guys, and I'm also gonna make the best pawn chain in the endgame. Queens and rook endgames. This is often one of the best pawn chains. There you go. Is my opponent gonna follow suit? You know, I have to call out these subs because they're gonna like fly off the bottom of the Streamlabs screen. You know what I mean? It only keeps so many. It only keeps so many. Casey Ingram, thanks for all the gifted subs. I don't even know what number you're at, buddy, but I know you mentioned 25. So thanks in advance for the 25 subs. Hopefully you do find those people that are going to stick around. Appreciate it, Casey Ingram. Royally Clash with the bits. Rim Creeper, as I mentioned earlier. Macabits. Potent Ponables came in with a 50 bomb to really get the party going. But it's just everybody coming in with 5 here and there. Everybody's coming in with 5. Okay, starting my pawn. Let's end that. Yeah, none of that. None of that. Commissario Brunetti, 5 subs. On top of that, 7 of diamonds. Fresh Prime on top of that. Discozilla, 2 months on top of that. Now, I'm going to defend my pawn. And I really want to push these pawns. It's very annoying, actually. Oh, wait, my opponent has 10 seconds. Wait, guys. I thought I couldn't focus. Wait, is this going to be the first guy I've ever flagged in habits? I never have more time than my opponent. Wait, what? This feels kind of special. This feels, oh, this is great. This is awesome. I never get to flag someone. Get him out of here. Wow. KNVB. No, not KNVB. Wow. Sag. VBKN. 1500. Sit in the corner, Hambo. You're 1500. Shut the fuck up. VBKN with the flag. VBKN with the flag. We'll take it. We'll take it. Oh, our new opening, guys. Here it is. New opening. We are purging plebs. Basically, if you're a pleb in chat, like, you know, run for cover. Run for cover. Okay. Castling. And we're going to play c3. Our main idea with the Ray Lopez is to play c3, d4. That's the idea. Rook e1, and we want to play d4. Oh my god. Oh my god. And I think we just I think we just sent Twitch's scam train into oblivion. Airbus driver says, "Hello, I'm back." And you know what? I think I noticed. I think I heard the rumble. Oh my god. Guys, we had 250 sub bombs in one scam train. 2. Airbus driver and potent ponables, not to mention literally every single other person getting involved with 5 subs of their own. Dude, this VBKN guy, Worship, he's popular. I don't know about KNVB, but this VBKN guy, he should stream or something. All for the habits. Well, I'm glad it's become such a popular series. That's definitely something that that I notice when the support comes in during the habits series. So thank you very much. Let's continue to get the pieces developed here. My goodness, John Michael D. I mean, we're still going here. You know what I mean? We're still going. It's crazy. Let's take. I can barely focus here, lads. Is the train crashing now? The train's done. We've already beat the train. I think we beat it. We're at 127%. Look at that poor train. Airbus driver, thank you, man. A 50 bomb is huge. Just huge. The habits train. The prestige is... We got guys double dipping. They've already been in there for 5 subs. Oh my goodness. How am I supposed to even play a move here? How am I supposed to even play a move? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna play great habits move. Bishop back. Our classic move. This is the move to hopefully make him think. Give me time to shout these out. Oh, b5. This guy's too quick, man. Give me a sec, eh? Give me a sec. Oh my goodness, they're coming in too fast. Airbus driver. Thanks for the 50 bond. Jackie Nimble 4 subs. Casey Ingram still going in the background. He doesn't stop. Okay, he wants to take the bishop. You know what? I can't. Not today. Not today. Knight there. Oh my goodness. What am I supposed to do now? Kick him out? Rook b1. I actually can't keep up. I actually can't keep up with the subs. You guys are insane. No, we just beat it. Potent ponables. I think we just beat the train. Choo choo. Choo choo. Let's take that. Wait. We got the Twitch Prime plebs running a train in chat. Do you guys see that? Twitch Prime plebs are running a Twitch Prime pleb train in chat. That's unacceptable. Those primes need to be purged right now. Hang on a sec. A pleb prime train? He's defending the road. Okay, well, let's kick the knight out. It's about time. This guy's mad annoying. Pleb train. No. We do sub trains around here. Get these pleb trains out of here. Get these pleb trains out of here. All the lurkers coming out of the woodwork. Okay, I have to finish this game. Let's bring Rook to the middle. I still have the entire, 100 subs or something to call out. Let's go for a little fork. Let's go for a little fork. You know what, plebs? If you want to run a train, run a follower train. The Warship and I had the same idea. There you go. There you go. If you want to run a train, boys, a follow train. You guys can run a follow train. Follow train level 5. Let's get to 200k. Let's get to 200k. I'm looking to double the rooks. Hang on a sec. Okay. Yep. Doubling the rooks. Yep. Opponent's playing well. Yep, we got to get those follows in, boys. Anonymous cheer for 1,000 bits. Whoa! What a move. For a number of reasons, this is a bad move, but I don't see what he sees. I don't see what he sees. Can you double follow? Only if it's 2 accounts. Okay, it goes knight there. I'm not seeing a threat. I'm not seeing a threat. Let's make one of our own. Let's make one of our own. Any reason for rook e4 instead of rook e2? It looked a little more central and it guarded my pawn, which I thought could be weak, but that's about it. That's about it. Okay. Rook takes pawn. I think we can do it. I'm not I see he has a potential fork, but I also see that he can't execute it at the moment. So let's gang up here. Look for a mate of our own. Hopefully. Hopefully. Oh my goodness. Hang on a second. Let me try to catch it. Anonymous Cheer, thanks for 1,000. John Michael D with 10 subs. Casey Ingram, another gifted sub. Royally Clash, 100 bits. Casey Ingram, another gifted sub. Just That Blue getting in with 5 subs. Richard BPK also came in with 5 subs. Get Prestige, 5 subs. And it's not his first time today. Not the first time for a lot of those people. Great move by my opponent. Guarding the mate, attacking my queen. Also, my queen should move to a square, which I'm going to choose right now. That still guards f2, and also a queen trade would be great for me. Checker strategy, 2 gifted subs. Casey Ingram with another one. He's just going nonstop in the background. It's probably been like 30 more than that. Check. Let's go here. Shackles, 1221. Thanks for the 5 subs. Casey Ingram again. We had Irascible coming in with 5. Mencher coming in with 5. Ending Special Ops with the 6 months. Chris Duncan with the prime. He goes there. We gotta try to put this guy away. I mean, my goodness, he's being resilient. Queen F1. What a fantastic move from the lad. How am I gonna handle this guy? Let's offer a trade of rooks. Jeez. Just That Blue gift another one. Scruffy Rodent. 4 months. Thanks for the resub. Casey Ingram, 2 times in a row with a gifted sub. We had Float Along, Fill Your Lungs with 5 gifted subs. Float Along, Fill Your Lungs coming in with 5 on top of that as well. Rhythmic coming in for 2 months. Casey Ingram gifted another sub. Soup Bowler with another gifted sub. Let's take that and let's finally take this night. Holy smokes, it's been a while since I actually collected some material around here. Let's offer a queen trade because we know he doesn't want to do that. Casey Ingram coming in with another gifted sub. We had Gambit coming in with a tier 1 sub. We had Gambit coming in also with a gifted sub. We had queen f3 and offer queen trade with 23 seconds. Hopefully we can still win this game after a great energetic performance by the chat. It's nice to be able to mirror that with a dub on the board. Whew. I think we did it. There we go. Get him out of here. Okay, if our opponent ever plays moves that are not in the center, we're just going to take the center. That's all it is. We're going to bring the knights out. Nice and, you know, it's a beautiful picture. It's a beautiful picture. Look at that. Right? Okay. Let's get castled. Oh, we got our opponent's playing sort of like a hippo right now. Okay. Bring the rook to the middle. I mean, I don't think my position looks too crazy. It's relatively normal. You know, got every piece in a picturesque spot. Doriano, thanks for the 17 months. And Casey Ingram is not stopping with the gifts. Thank you, Casey Ingram. Did you get it, Gopher? Jeez. So let's play bishop here. Not to give away bishop for knight, but rather to exchange these two bishops. We've talked already about like color complex, weak squares. If I trade these bishops, then he has this structure without a piece on the light squares to defend them. So let's get rid of that bishop. Sticking with the habits, gonna play h6. And now I think it's time to maybe try to look at the squares over here, try to take advantage of them. So one thing that we did in the other game is we played e4 because this pawn starts to control that square, right? And then all of a sudden maybe our queen and our other pieces join and also start to control these squares. So let's try to execute that. I'm going to move my knight to e5. Okay, instead of trading, which might be tempting, I'm going to bring my knight here, and it's all about this square, and this square. If I can start to get my pieces occupying those squares safely, then I think we're going to have a fantastic position. Which is why, credit to my opponent, he's playing a move like h3. Because he is trying to take care of his own light squares. He realized that's kind of an issue. That's kind of an issue. Well, let's kick his knight out of here. So the only thing different from maybe how we might normally play is we're now thinking a little bit more about these squares. What's the best move here? Who knows? What's the square, or what's the move that takes advantage of this square in the best way? Ah, well, then suddenly we're talking. I'm going to go queen here. It's all about this guy. Okay, knight f4. It looks like a great move. Queen c6 also would have been a fantastic move. Yeah, I like queen c6 for sure. For sure. Okay, there's knight f4, kind of stopping us from controlling this square any further. I think we're going to double the rooks in open file. Never a bad thing. Never a bad thing. So let's do that. Knight c4. Unfortunately, here I don't have a big choice. I sort of have to go for the trades that he's proposing. Okay, and in this position, again, I sort of have these guys locked behind the bishop on d6. So I need to move that bishop if I eventually want to use them, like let's say rook d2 or something like that. Taking the knight unfortunately doesn't really serve my purpose because I want to get my queen to that square. g5 does serve that purpose in the sense that I don't think there's a way to stop me from going queen f3 after g5. So g5 makes sense as a way to try to do that. What happens after g5? Just have to calculate something like g4 because my queen is running out of squares. Running out of squares. Okay? So something to consider. In this case, I think we've got it covered. And I think we've got it covered by some level 4 kind of habits. Not level 3, some level 4 stuff. If g4, we could play knight takes g4. That's a sacrifice. Oh man, I was excited to get our first sacrifice in. Boy, that would have been special. but we don't get to enjoy it. Feels bad, man. Feels bad, man. Now, queen f3. I mean, we've got the move that we've been waiting for, right? This is what all the rage is about, right? Queen f3. But what comes after? What comes after queen f3? That's what I want to know. Queen f3. I mean, the king moves somewhere. How do I get the next piece in? How do I get the next piece in? Someone says bishop sacrifice. I mean, that's ambitious. That's ambitious. So I'm going to present another option. Bishop e5. So I don't think he can really deal with my queen going to f3. However, when I play g5, huge weakness on the long diagonal. Huge weakness. Like, this is the type of thing that will lose me the game. So what did I do? I just traded off these two pieces. I got the bishop out of the way of my rooks. And am I going to trade queens with this guy? Absolutely not. No chance. I want to play queen f3 now, and there's no bishop menacing my king. Rook d2, queen f3, those are the next moves. Then it's going to be very hard for him to defend against some of these checkmates. He goes here. Do I know what he's doing? Nope. Do I care? Also nope. Next move, rook into d2. Right? We want to make the threat. Rook takes e2. He has a few good moves here. See if he identifies them. Yes, he does. Great move. Queen there. I love it. I love it. Let's play this move while we calibrate for a sec. How do I make another threat here? Seems like I'm maximizing my pieces. Let's save this pawn while we hopefully think about this. Maybe pawn here. Okay, so he's just sending the pawns. But remember, his queen has to stay on the knight. So like if I attack the queen, can he take my pawn? Not quite. His queen has to stay protecting that knight. Because of that, I'm able to make a few more threats. Like for example, rook d5, rook f5. Suddenly I have a threat on f2. So I'm actually able to, and he makes a good move. Let's take here. I'm actually able to make a serious threat. Where should your mouse be right now? It should be on the king. We want to play rook takes here. I would probably pre-move a move like this. If he doesn't take my rook, I'm probably playing a rook takes pawn. Right? That's just exactly what I want to do. So you're gonna pre-move queen takes rook. Hey, he might sack there, right? That's sounds reasonable. And otherwise, we're playing rook takes pawn. So you do that pre-move, and then I'd probably hover this. See what he does. Again, we want to pre-move this. And I would probably pre-move this just for a sec while you decide if we can actually win this game. The answer is no. The answer is definitely not. I think we lose that game if we try to play for a win. Knight there, rook g1, queen c3. I think we lose that game. So I'm happy with a draw. I think that's good use of pre-moves. I think it's a good use of pre-moves. It would be pretty tragic to lose a game like this, but I think that was a pretty good use of the rooks here. Let's say here, he actually gave me this, which was very fortunate. Very fortunate. Why not queen takes g3 f2? Because it wouldn't be check, right? Like there's lots of ways to continue playing here as black, and of course black's winning. I'm up a piece, but if I play queen takes g3 and I'm threatening rook f2 to threaten this, that's many moves, right? Keep in mind that he has lots of pieces he can bring over to defend. He has like sacrifices he can do to waste my time. It's not that easy. Not that easy. Now, what did we learn from this opening? Absolutely nothing. Right? What is this opening? It's a pretty non-threatening one. Every time we see an opening like this, what do? We bring the pieces out like this. Like, you don't have to overthink it. Get the knights, pawns in the middle. Bishop's out. Nothing fancy. Okay, so that's how you're gonna handle, you know, people who play the hippo or these sort of double fianchetto openings. There's not a lot of theory here. It's more about just getting the pieces out to simple squares and try not to spend too much time in the opening. Okay, so not much to look at here, just because the opening wasn't terribly insightful. However, we spent a lot of time on, you know, spending moves working on these color complexes. So hopefully you guys are starting to get a little bit more of an idea of when you have, especially the theme has been in the two games, when your opponent has this structure and you can get a pawn here, that's the start of you controlling those light squares. Or if it was black's king, it'd be the dark squares around the king, right? If black's pawns were like this, then the dark squares would be very dangerous. So that's something that we're definitely working on a bit more in this level. Be nice to get a bit more practice there, though. Okay, so are we gonna get a Ruy Lopez? I'm happy we are. This one without the insane support from the crowd, and hopefully we'll be able to get a better look at the Ruy Lopez, and we'll definitely analyze this after. He goes knight there. It's up to me. This pawn is loose. Castle makes the most sense. Okay, he just goes d6. So very modest. Very modest. Bishop back. And look at this guy. Look at this nasty guy. He wants my bishop. Jeez. Well, you guys, what we have to do. We have to try to take the center. Alright, he wants my bishop. We're gonna take towards the center. I think that's the simplest to understand. Hey, thanks for the raid, Chess Dojo Live. 78 people. 78 people. Welcome, guys. So that was Jesse or Kostya. Appreciate the raid. E5 is an idea, but I mean, we're definitely taking this pawn back. No question about that. Now, the question is with the knight or the queen. I think I'm going to stick with some fundamentals and just take with the knight. That's all we need to do. We don't need to be fancy here, but definitely queen takes as a consideration. Definitely a consideration. Okay, he goes bishop there. He's really, I don't know. I feel like he's kind of asking for it here. You know, he's leaving his king in the middle like that, but okay. Just going to play knight c3, just going to chill. A big Kostya raid. Oh, I appreciate that, Mr. Kavutsky. Chess Dojo. Welcome, raiders. We're doing a series right now called Building Habits. So you're seeing me on a 1500 account here as we move up the rating ladder. But we're not just like speed running, you know. We're taking losses over here. We're taking losses here. Oh, Joe, you're definitely correct, but you know, I just chose the move that's easier to explain all the time. Now, there's going to be times where taking with the queen is better than the knight, but if you take with a knight, it's always going to be a good move. If you take with the queen, sometimes it might just be a blunder. So, choosing a move that we can turn into a habit, Joe, as opposed to the best move every time. Okay, bishop gets attacked. Let's just save that guy. Ryan Fangs, thanks for the fresh prime sub. The splatter. Welcome, dude. Okay, we got all our pieces moved, all in the center, and we've got our h3 in. Okay, is it time for you know, a knight move into the middle of the board? Whoa! He takes there. He takes there. Why h3? H3 is a habit. That's oh man, you can't be asking why h3. Are we really asking why h3? There is Yarachar. Oh man, why h3? Can't be asking that one, buddy. Why H3? Well, I recommend checking out the Habits series, buddy. You will get your explanation. H3 to play G4. Please no. Please no. Why not capture with the bishop? Again, tough to explain each of these things, but if I took with the bishop, in this specific case, c5, the bishop would go back, and I might lose this pawn. Not that it would be a big deal, but that's why I did it. So I want to bring the knight here. Goes for a trade, and I think we get to experience what our opponent has just created with the move c5, a backwards pawn. A backwards pawn on d6, meaning it can't join its buddies over here and advance forward because we've got it locked down. So the first step is make sure it can't advance, and I've done that. I've got 3 pieces that say no. 3 pieces that say no. Okay. I've also got a free pawn here, from what I can see, because I'm pretty sure my opponent is going to take here. Like, it looks like he wants to take here. It looks like it works for him because he's got this, but I think my opponent may have miscalculated. Yeah, well, that's the thing about a backwards pawn. Once you can't move it forwards, if I just pile up on it, it's extremely hard to defend. It's extremely hard to defend. Okay, so what do we do once we win a pawn? I think it's fair to I think it's fair to just look for trades. So I think bishop g3 is a A+ move, very safe. I think bishop c5 is maybe fancy but playable. We're gonna go for safe. Always safe, always safe. Trade down, right? If we can ever trade these queens, we just have 1 extra pawn. We're gonna take that to the endgame. So let's do it. Wow, we just got a brand new sub from Foamy Homie, which is a top tier username, if I may say so. Foamy Homie. Nothing wrong with getting foamy with your homie. Okay, let's keep things simple and trade off a pair of rooks. We're going to keep the trading up. We're going to keep the trading up. We're getting towards an endgame. F5. Okay, once again, we're going to keep up the trades. Our pawn is loose here, so let's protect that. And our pawn is once again being attacked, so we don't have much of an option. Okay. And let's go here. We're up a pawn, so let's trade. Here we go. We've reached our winning endgame. Let's centralize the bishop, and let's bring the king to the middle. Let's bring the king to the middle. Looking forward to our win here, guys. Okay, let's move this bishop. Something we haven't experienced yet. Okay, let's keep moving this bishop. This guy's annoying. A winning endgame. Of course, we got an extra pawn. We're trading down. We're trading down. What color should your pawns be on? They work well if they're on the same color, for sure. Something like this works well against that bishop, for example. Trading down because your pawn up always goes badly at your level? That sucks. That should always be a good strat. I don't know what your level is, but you gotta be pretty OP, dude. Okay. trading down to a nice winning endgame. Pass pawn. No worries. Now we got a pass pawn for this king. We're very simply going to bring the king over here and take this pawn. Hopefully our opponent panics. There we go. We won a pawn. Must be easily winning. Let's hope he takes here. Yep, thank you. Like I said, guys, it's a easily winning endgame. So now that we're on a opposite bishop endgame, we're going to make sure to use dark squares only, right? Dark squares only with the king. Help the pawn advance. And like I mentioned to you guys, it's a completely winning endgame. This is just level 4 habits for you guys. Here we go. And sorry, that must have been a mouse slip. Let me promote here and let's just get a bishop checkmate. Yep, thanks. So, like I said, completely winning, trade down pieces, and just get an easy win. That's how it works. That's why I always tell you guys, when you're ahead material, had one pawn, trade down, easy dub. Trade down, easy dub. It works all the time. Have a look at that opposite bishop endgame. You know, guys, the special thing about opposite bishop endgames, I can let you in on a little secret. You see that? 93.0, 92.7. Why is that the case? Because it was an opposite bishop endgame. If you ever want to get a high accuracy game, play an opposite bishop endgame. Trust me, you and your opponent can farm accuracy. You guys will both be, you and all your foamy homies will be 90 plus accuracy, guaranteed, if you play an opposite bishop endgame. It's a free ticket. It's a free ticket. Now, let's take a look at the opening. First of all, not too upset with how this went. This move does hang a pawn in the middle of the board, but the idea is, you know, that we get it back with moves like this. Rook e1, d4, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on the king here. What have I always said with black? Not to go pawn hunting when your king's still in the middle. So the same thing applies to black here. Okay, rook e1. This happened. He took my bishop. I immediately took the center, though. Right? This is what I've said. If your opponent ever lets you take the center, especially in the Ruy Lopez, do it. Do it. Okay, we're just developing our pieces. Played h3, solid. And I think that, yep, knight f4 missed win. Why is it a missed win? Because of this. But you guys in the chat right here said g4, kappa. And since I saw the kappa, I realized it wasn't a real suggestion. Because I would have played g4 if you guys had actually suggested it, but I saw kappa, so I couldn't play it. It would have been a good move, though. Would have been a good move. G4. Yep. Chasing the knight back. Something like bishop g5. Giving that guy double pawns on f6. Yep. So unfortunately, a missed win for the boys. Okay. And here we can see, you know, rook d8. Not the most accurate move, trading pieces. And we can also see rook d6, not the most accurate move trading pieces. Now, on a serious note, don't ever trade down all your pieces to an opposite bishop endgame. Heads up, an opposite bishop endgame is one of the only endgames in chess, one of the only, where trading down pieces does drum roll, not help you. That's right. Trading down pieces actually helps your opponent draw the game, not you win the game. But it's one of the only endgames in chess where that is the case. Right? It doesn't make sense why you would want to trade pieces when you're down a pawn, but opposite bishops, what can happen is the bishop just sits there, guards the pawn, the king just sits there. Like, imagine black did nothing. Imagine black did nothing. He leaves his king on this square, puts his bishop here, and then, you know, shuffles his bishop to, like, safe squares for the entire game. White can, like, you know, he can move every single piece, like, as much as he wants. You're going to trade whenever you can. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, the guy can, even if you don't take this and you just go back and forth, black can go back and forth, like, just until he dies. Like, you know what I mean? As long as he's defending that pawn, he can shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Just impossible to win. And this is me trolling and not taking pawns, of course. And black king just stays there. You know what I mean? So the only reason that I won this game is it's usually nearly impossible to win an opposite bishop endgame with up a pawn. You usually have to be up like 2 pawns, or your opponent has to have terrible pawns. Something has to give. In our game, you see what happened is, okay, we basically got that. He blockaded my pawn. And what does he need to do now? He just needs to stay here and guard that pawn, and that's it. That's it. It's just a draw. I can't do a single thing. But what happened here? He just needs to go here. Bishop takes b3 is a huge blunder. And you see that eval bar just whew, takes off. Just takes off. The game is immediately over. I take the pawn, and now it's very easy to advance the guy. Yeah. Right? So, all he needs to do is keep the bishop here. So what you want to do if you're ever playing defense in an opposite bishop endgame is you want to identify where your opponent has the extra pawns, let's say here, and you want to use your king. So imagine that the rules, or the pieces were switched. Imagine this king was guarding this pawn, and this bishop was in front of this pawn. Then what white would try to do is bring his king over here and push this pawn, and you'd have to sack your bishop for it. You don't want that. So you identify where your opponent has the extra pawn. In this case, for white, it was on the king side. And then you use your king to blockade it while you use your bishop to protect pawns on the other side of the board that are on the same color. Because white is never going to be able to attack them, ever, with the bishop. He only has a king. And if you can defend them, then you're good. So, h6, that's where the extra pawn is in this endgame. Use your king, put it over there. This bishop and this pawn coordinate very well on the correct color, but I'm not really going to get into that just yet because we haven't had an experience where that's really mattered. But the rook pawn and your bishop lining up is always a very important thing. For example, in the game, all I'll mention is that if I had the other color bishop, it would be a draw. So if this pawn was here and this bishop was here, then it would be a draw. But I think that's all we need to know about that for now. Basically, it would be a draw because the bishop does not ever control that square, right? It's on the light squares, so it's kind of useless. The king can just stay in the corner and just shuffle around. But if you're looking to try to win with opposite bishops, keep more pieces on the board, okay? So what should I not have done? I should not have played this move. That's a very bad move, right? I should try to keep pieces on the board. Rook d6 is not good. Why did I do it? Hopefully to be instructive, which is what sort of happened there. So we ended up winning the game anyway. Worth. Okay, I'm playing a vegan flat earther. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, let's play e5. Knight c3. I think we have been playing bishop c5 because against the Vienna, we want to be prepared for that. So, Vienna, what have we said we're going to do against this? Just d6 and support. We don't want to get into positions where we're taking and doing this. So, d6. Knight there. I think knight here. Thanks, Livro, for the fresh prime sub. As I said, foamy homie. Thank you, dude, for the tier 1 earlier. And Float Along Fill Your Lungs also came in with a 5 gifted sub bomb. After the dust had settled from the crazy support earlier. Thank you for still gifting, man. I appreciate that a lot. D3, let's get castled. Why not bishop to G4? I might do that. But I'm playing a vegan flat earther, so I feel like I need to be a little careful. Knight A4, attacking the bishop. I'm going to play bishop D6, because that's normally where I put the bishop when it gets attacked. Okay, castles. Our turn here. AZ1346. I'm not actually sure, but I think it's going to be very soon. Okay, goes bishop back. I think we want to trade mainly because he can't take this way, which is kind of annoying for him, I think. So let's take this way. Let's go h6. We basically want to bring the pieces to the middle like that. As a sub, you can rewatch videos on Twitch. This is correct. You can also do that as a pleb. Jordan, thanks for the 3 months. Okay, rook e8. Shout out from Queens. Hello, Roos Goose. What's up, bud? Let's bring all the boys in. You think G4 is happening? That would be a frightening move. That would be a frightening move. You see what he had to do? He had to do this because he wanted to bring his Rook, but he was going to lose his pawn. So you see, this move caused him to waste an entire move on A3. Now, what are we planning? We're probably planning to do this because these, everything's kind of covered there, and this is expanding in the center. It's exactly what we want to do. D5 is the perfect break for all of our pieces. It opens up the middle of the board. Okay. We got some recaptures coming up. Ehump, 1,500 bits. That's a consistent 1,500 bits from Ehump. Thank you, buddy. Always in here with the bits, supporting the habit streams. Wee pizza. Best 2 months of your life. I'd like to think that that speaks volumes about, our channel and the community that we've put together, that you feel that way about the last 2 months. I'm going to ignore the fact that that also speaks volumes about the remainder of your life. Let's just focus on how nice a message that was. Okay, we're going to take this back. Yeah, no, that was very moving. Why did that take so long? I mean, he's taking his time here. We're just flagging this guy. Well, thank you, Askuna. Streaming is fun for me too. It's not a one-way street. If I didn't enjoy it at all, I wouldn't be doing it. So appreciate it, Wee Pizza. Oh, we're flagging another one. Dude, the flat earther is okay, let's take that pawn. The flat earther is not performing here. Okay. So with 19 seconds left, the flat earther is creating some threats. Let's move our knight. Ooh. Rook takes pawn. Okay, well, let's just go for it. That's a central pawn. Gimme. Gimme. That's another central pawn. 2 ways to take it. I'm always going to say choose the queen because, hey, queen trade is great, right? We're not only ahead a lot of time. Let's do another trade. And you know what? Oh, this should be too easy. Push him, baby. Push him, baby. There we go. GG. Vegan flat earther. Push him, baby. Yeah, we were able to secure the bag with the push. We'll take it. We'll take it. And what was this opening again? I think it was the Vienna. I remember. But this went a lot better than some of our previous Viennas, right? Previously in the Vienna, you guys remember we were playing knight f6, taking, and getting murked by e5. Like, absolutely destroyed. Let's continue. e4. Okay, we've actually seen a lot of Scandinavian here. We found the John Bartholomew crew at 1600. Okay, pawn in the middle, right? JP Drains. Thanks for the 5 subs. Okay, this all looks normal. Get castled. Okay, when are we not gonna ask this guy what's up? Where are you going, bud? I mean, if you're not taking me, then why did you go there? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Okay. Guys, mod check. Is that a... is that a... is that for me? Is that for me? No, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have. No, you're too kind. You're just too kind, buddy. He wants to stop my queen from getting out. Okay, well, we got to fix that right away. First of all, let's go here to make sure we're not getting trapped in the corner there. I don't think our buddy over here has had maybe a worse start to his games in a while. He looks a little flustered right now. He looks a little flustered. Now, after you win some material like that, count on your opponent to be very, very aggressive in exchange. For example, queen takes e7, 1000% the wrong move. Holy smokes, that might be the worst. Not only is this maybe an issue, but we should never be opening the e file, just as a rule. Just as a rule. So it's not about whether this move is good or not here, but it's a bad habit. We want to build good habits. Do we want to take a pawn when we've already got a rook? No. In general, once you're already up a rook, you have enough material to win the game. So all you want to do is get to safety. So we want like king to safety. We want to find ways to solve the problem of our pieces, get developed. Because when you're up a rook, that's enough to win the game. That's enough to win the game. Okay, we don't need an extra pawn on top of the rook. You know what I mean? Rook's enough. So he just made a move which has a threat. Number one, he can take the central pawn, add more pressure to these two. Number two, he can play knight takes c3. Knight takes c3. So there's quite a, obviously there's quite a number of solutions here to the issue. Something like queen b3, defends, but it stays on an open file for maybe rook b8 in the future. There's also something like bishop d2, which the king is going to have to join the center of the board. I'm not sure that's really what you want to do either. There's castling. After castling, there's knight takes and then queen takes. And you notice the black queen is hitting the rook and the bishop on c4. So there's quite a number of reasons why this move, knight e4, is still very tricky, in my opinion. Still very tricky. I think that there's a few clear moves to consider. Number one, if I'm ever faced with something like this, the absolute first move I'm ever going to play is going to be castling. Like that's the move I want to play. Okay? e4, queen f5, I'm not really sold on that. So I'm going to play castle, and I'm going to try to explain what I mean by this. After castling, my king is safe, period. Like, I don't have to worry about the king being caught in the middle. The only thing I have to worry about is this imminent tactic with queen takes c3, hitting the rook, and hitting this bishop. And I'm glad that you all calculated that out. Good. You guys all saw rook to b1, and queen takes b8, and rook takes b8, and bishop h6. So nice. It's good calculation, guys. Well done. Really awesome. You guys are just impress me every time I see the growth that you guys put in the chat. It's just unbelievable. It brings a tear to my eye. The way that you guys are improving day by day. You know what I mean? I think back to level 1 habits, and I think where you guys are now, and it's just unbelievable, honestly. Really well done. You know what? Give yourself a pat on the back. Who? You. That's right, you. Well done. Really, really nicely calculated, guys. Really nicely calculated. But it's important to deal with this issue tactically. Here's the thing. If I play this move, after this happens, even if I don't play this move, I still think that castling is just the safest medicine to the position that we had earlier. I really do. Even in this position. Because remember, we want a rook, so even if we lose a bishop back, we're still ahead. What else could we have done? We could have also gone bishop here, right? So if we lose the bishop, we take this knight. What else could we have done? Well, maybe we could have brought the queen back, right? And then if he takes our rook, we go bishop b2, right? And we trap his queen. So there's a lot of ways that we could have actually gotten out of that from the position, but the number one thing to start with is castle. If you win something as valuable as a rook, you don't even need to waste time after calculating, as long as you're sure you're not losing a rook. Because in this position, I know I can at least lose a bishop and I'll still be ahead. That's how, when you win a rook, you can lose a piece and still be winning. Okay, so that's why I was pretty confident castling, because I knew that at worst, I was going to lose a bishop. Worst. But as you guys calculated, rook b1, just fantastic. Solve our issues tactically. Bishop d2 after knight c3 work. I'm not sure exactly, but it looked a little suspicious with a loose bishop on c4, but it's possible that it does. It's possible that it does. So, that game, Scandinavian, went obviously very well. Our opponent just blundered a rook to start off. Okay, nicely done. 1600 next? Question mark? e4, e5. Ruy Lopez, guys. Let's see if we can improve from the last time. We're going to start with knight f6. d3 means he's threatening our pawn, so we got to play b5. And follow that up with bishop e7. Okay, let's castle. Let's play d6. He wants to stop bishop g4. Understandable, understandable. Let's play knight a5. And let's play c5. So we've pretty much had a position like this before. b3. And what the heck is he up to over here? What the heck is he up to? So we haven't really had a chance to talk about, where the rest of the pieces go in this opening. But the first thing is, once we put our knight over there, move the pawn up. If his pawn's not here, you're not doing anything in the center, let's just bring the knight back. That's step one. The knight's not doing anything on the side of the board. Let's bring it back into play. If his pawn was already here, I might be a little concerned about d5, but for now, if he pushes, we'll be able to take. Rook to e1, and basically we want to finish development. This bishop, I think both of those diagonals look fantastic. One thing about this is you never ever want to let that pawn get there because it's just going to block your bishop. It's going to be basically useless. So let's play queen c7. First of all, a move that we played in the last Ruy Lopez is always going to be there. And a reminder that if anyone wants to play bishop here, the move knight g5 is just going to be annoying. It's just going to be annoying. So we usually play h6 first before bishop e6. And then you can get the bishop there. Where do the rooks want to be? Well, usually a rook on e8. Why e8? Because if a d4 move happens, what files are going to open? The e and the c. So usually the rooks want to go on those two squares. He does do it. Okay, let's take. And let's take. And we're very happy to see that from our friend who's hanging a piece for us. Cheers, Airbus. Hey, maybe we'll go long enough. We'll see you. We'll see you back around. Take free pieces. Hey, I do say that. That is a thing. Okay. How about rooks to the middle? Hello, Naprosto. Is Naprosto keeping up watch as the resident UK? Oh, I like that one, Bad Chess. Good vibes. See ya, Sir Bus. I'm a big fan of that. Sir Bus. Okay, there's rook d1. There's also knight d7. At this point, I am actually spoiled for choice. Let's go knight here. And I think my opponent has had enough of that game. We're 1600. There we go, boys. e4. Okay. And we're going to go for Ruy Lopez as white. This is a little bit different. Bishop c5. Whenever I play the Ruy Lopez, usually one of the first things to do is get castled. Have I played this guy before? I think if I did, it would have a score beside my avatar. You know what I mean? It would say like 1-0 or whatever. And then in the Ruy Lopez, what am I always trying to do? Play c3 and d4. And why is this going to be familiar? Because we've done this in the Sicilian. c3 and d4 is just OP, man. Like, people don't know how to handle this usually. Thanks for the full year, Fornax GC. 1 year from Fornax. Let's go, buddy. Okay. Whenever we get attacked, we don't usually take that bishop. Always try to preserve your bishop. It's going to be valuable on one of these diagonals. Okay. Just keep that bishop there. Nice diagonal. And here we're coming with d4. There we go. Attacking both of those things. I'm going to take it right away. I did finally wash my face. Yeah, we lost the St. Patty's mark. Okay, and the bishop goes back. And the bishop goes back. So, why not bishop c2? If he plays knight a5, I don't mind going back, but oftentimes when the bishop's on c2, the knight goes to b4, and when the bishop's on b3, the knight goes to a5. So I might end up on either square, but bishop b3 is nice. I have an open diagonal. That's exactly where his king is probably going to castle, so I can't be too upset with this. I can't be too upset with this. Now, this position. Just played d4. We're obviously very happy. We have the center. I think I'm just gonna develop. Not gonna read too much into it. Floth, love your suggestion of h3. I am going to insert first knight c3, but I like your suggestion of h3 in general because I'm gonna play it right now. A big reason we want to play h3 in the Ruy Lopez, and you usually want to play it really early, is this completely undermines our control of d4. Because after bishop g4, bishop takes knight. You guys see what's going to happen. After queen takes bishop, there's nobody defending that pawn anymore. So with one bishop that can't attack d4, he gets rid of two pieces that are defending it. That's OP. That's OP. So we got to throw in an earlier than usual h3. And we also have to throw in an earlier than usual d5 when Buddy Pal over here is hanging a piece like that. That's a basic tactic there. Why don't 1500s do this against you? Well, probably because the people that are doing this, they might have started out at 1700. This guy could be on the way down, blundering a piece every game. Let's take that freebie. Keep going. Oh, he's even gonna give me the pawn. Oh, he's just too kind. Let's keep developing. This guy. He's a friend. He is a buddy. Bishop being attacked. Don't mind moving it back. Do I care about this? Absolutely not. Guys, I am currently up a piece. I should be going for trades all day here. A takes b3, also okay. But yeah, I just want to bring the rooks in. Knight d5 looks like an amazing move. It's going to trade literally every piece. He stops it, and rightly so. That's such a great move by him. This is unfair. Joey B, what do you mean this is unfair? So g5, gonna bring the bishop back. I am threatening bishop d6 here, which he might not notice. He might go a little blindsided with the knight here. But actually been very impressed. c6, rook d8. I think he's doing well. Let's bring my rook in the middle as well. And I think we're pretty much, we're all set up here. Knight takes bishop. A threat. Why a big threat? Because it's pinned, so it's actually for free. Meaning bishop h2 is a move I think I have to play. Rook takes f3. So that's my opponent reminding me that he's at level 4. So this is actually a big alpha move. He just sacked the rook. It looks terrible, but just being able to sack a rook lets me know that he's habits level 4, and he wanted to make that clear. It's like, I'm habits level 4, bro. We're going to take here. Simply because this gets me trades. Trades are good. I know he got a pawn here, but guys, I have an extra rook. There's no way I can be losing this. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So, let's get the pieces in. Let's get the pieces in. The queen in. I mean, it's near the king. There's like forks to win the bishop. Knight there. I mean, buddy. You think this is going to happen? For real? I don't think so. Let's take that. Not only because we want trades, but we also don't want to get checkmated in one, you know. Look at all the material we're collecting. Look at all the material we are collecting. So, in a time like this, what do we want to do? Obviously, we want to go for trades, but we also want to go for mate. If you played to trade queens here, or if you played to, to go for mate, I think both are very, very reasonable. What am I going to choose to do? I'm going to choose to go for mate. So I'm going to play rook d1 with the idea to go rook d7. And as long as I check my opponent from here on out, I should win this game. As long as we go for check. And this is, oh, he's got a check here. Unfortunately, it's not even a mate. Rook d7, going for mate, looks very good. Let me tell you, what would I actually play here? For safety, I would play queen d7. I think it's a great habit to get into. Just trade those queens, and everyone can win this position. So I like queen d7, and would you look at that? He ended up resigning probably quicker than if we had played rook d7. Anonymous gifting to Elite Pwned, and Carlson the Great gifting to Julio. Our buddy Julio Cock. Welcome. Welcome. Don't we love it? Usernames like that. Welcome, my guy. All right. So what have I said? Whenever we have, people not taking the center, I pretty much always, and we have to be careful here. This pawn is loose. We got to make sure to defend that because hang on, Buddy's coming in like this, and he's looking to take my my pawn for free there. You gotta watch out for him. Whoa, Naprosto, 20 gifted subs. Hang on a sec. Let's get castled. Big Naprost. Not messing around right now. Rook to e1. Always go with the rooks here. Knight h5. I don't know whose man's this is. Literally have no idea what that move is. Thank you for the 20 subs, Naprosto. Okay, well, guys, I mean, I think we can just go here. Like, he's clearly making some sort of indication that he wants to target this pawn. I'm going to bring the rooks to the middle. He wants to sack a pawn. What's going on here? This is too easy. Pavlov's cat, thanks for the fresh prime after that. Thank you, Pavlov's. Oh, he's too kind. Guys, that's freebies for me. Oh, I'm just going to go right back on top of that. What is this guy? He's giving me free stuff, and then he's chasing me back. He thinks I'm going to be upset? Dude, no. I'm actually having a great time. I'm having a great time. Taking all your stuff. I'm having a great time. Let's bring the rook to the middle. Okay, so now we got 4 pieces. You got 3. What do we want to do? Go for trades. Also, bishop h6. We've talked about the color complexes. And you know what else we've talked about? We've talked about how this guy has got a bloody obvious threat. Now, after he takes here, we're going to take back. He's going to take. What are we going to do? Who's got the move for me after that? Are we going to be scared of Buddy sacking another piece when he's already down a piece? I hope not. I hope not. That's right. If you have a knight on f3, generally shouldn't be scared of that. You just take it and play knight h2. So, listen, I'm on the ignore train. I don't know what he's up to, but let me just continue with my idea. I want to trade those bishops off. Okay. I get it. I get it. Yes, we want to play knight h2. This is the intention. Is knight g5 bad there? Yes, knight g5 is bad there. Yep, knight g5 is definitely bad there. Bishop takes d4. Okay, Farty Party, thanks for the bits. He's got some intentions here. First of all, what's our next move, guys? Can anyone let me know? Our next move. After we play knight h2, ignore whatever's on the board. What is usually our next move for, let's say, defending against a sacrifice? Bishop f1. Thank you. Thank you. Please explain why knight g5 is bad. Well, it hangs a bishop. It's a check, and you hang a bishop. Bishop f1. So we're not going to get sidetracked here. We're already up 2 pieces. So remember, when you're up 2 pieces, that is called like enough material to win the game. You don't need to be up 3 pieces. You don't need this. Listen, if it's totally safe to take that rook, do it. But I would always, always advise for you to play defense first. Play your defensive moves. You're up 2 pieces. You don't need extra stuff to win this game. 2 pieces is enough. 1 piece is often enough. So it's very, very common in a position like this that you might get too greedy and just take this for no reason. Okay, for example, in this position, what move should I play? Fortunately for me, I have a very nice selection because every move seems like it wins. I have bishop takes queen, which is probably the best one because it means the queens are going to disappear from the board. And then I have, pawn or queen takes bishop, which also looks fine. But which one am I going to do? Definitely this one. He's attacking me. If the queens disappear, this is fantastic. This is all I need. Okay, we're going to take back. Now we're still hitting the rook, and we've still got 2 extra pieces. Oh, is that a trade? I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to convince me. You don't have to convince me. Okay, let's go for more trades. See if I can take this guy. See if I can take. Okay, not quite. He goes back. Let's move the bishop. Let's go for more trades. That's all we want to do, guys. When you're up 2 pieces, if you can get any equal trades, pawns, pieces, it's always good. Always, always, always. Okay, check. I'm going to go here. And I think Buddy is in trouble here. Hey, Beast and Twin. There's 2 of us, Eric and myself. Both Grandmasters from Canada. And yay, we get to mate him. Hopefully you guys saw that one. If you guys played Bishop Takes Knight, trust me, I'm not complaining. You're up 2 pieces. Everyone's going to win that game. But this is the quicker way to do it. That's the idea, Prash. Trying to be very, very logical with the approach. Not trying to be overly fancy. We got h3 rookie one. Our rook's to the middle. Like, he just hung a pawn in the center and then hung a knight. So this was not a difficult game. Plus, we have gotten used to defending this sacrifice, guys. We've seen this over and over, and every time we've done it, hopefully you guys now feel more comfortable handling that. There's no way that should frighten you. There are some cases where it is dangerous, but as long as you know the defensive maneuvers that you can use to protect yourself, it shouldn't be that scary. Okay. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. Bishop there, we usually play knight first. a3, we don't usually play against ever. Let's go here. Actually, we can just go here, attack that pawn. I guess he's going to go there. Now we can bring the bishop out. Okay, let's go d6. Bishop a2. Okay, let's castle. Cheers, chess gamer. Bishop g5. I will always do this. I will always do this, and I will not always face that. All right. Hands up. Who's scared of taking that? Who's scared? It's a frightening thing. It's a frightening thing. So, first things first. If you take this and the pawn takes back and the knight moves, you know, like to those squares, it's game over immediately, right? Like this queen is coming to h5 and you're getting clapped down the h file. Absolutely clapped. Now, here and knight g4 is the only way that you could play. But are we scared of g6 there? Takes, knight g4, g6. Now, you guys might not remember this, but well, I have an extensive memory being a grandmaster. I can remember a very specific game that we played with the white pieces where we lost to this exact same tactic, this exact same idea. After g6, I think we tried knight takes f2, and we got mated by rook h8, queen h5, and queen h7 mate. It was a game we played with the white pieces, and black did that to us down here, but we've already had this experience before. Not an experience I'm too interested in repeating. We'll respect h4 for now. It definitely was not pleasant, worship. Absolutely not. Hell no, it wasn't. Hello, Alan.
Hello, hello.
How's it going, bud? You having some as well?
I'm good. I ate already.
Did you go to the gym today?
Yeah.
Alan, you're going to be the buffest member of the house.
Woo!
Food, exactly. Yeah, food is important. That's also a good habit. Eating from time to time. As a GM, would I take? Yeah, probably. Queen d2. So, takes. Hang on, now there's no queen h5. Okay. And now there's no g6 because we're trading these bishops off. I'm just saying, you know, there's a little more going on there, so to speak. Let's see what happens here as I enjoy some food. Oh yeah, gotta double bite it, buddy. Gotta maximize. Did I put my nose into the sandwich? Yeah, such an interesting sandwich. I think the main utensil that you eat it with is a credit card. It's like a really fine white powder. It's really good though. Okay, so we want to put the knight here. Attack the pawn. So we've saved our knight. We definitely want to play the move I'm about to play, which is bishop takes bishop, just because trades. Good. And now, why not knight h7? Because the move g6 would have actually KO'd us there. Maybe not KO'd us, but definitely injured us. Now, in this position, are we going to continue? Anyone have some suggestions? Someone says, go checkmate. All right. Thanks, Chief. Knight d4. I see a lot of knight d4s. Sure. I think Buddy might do this. It's possible. He goes here. This is a great move for us to see. Because now, what we're going to do is we're going to wait for this move to happen. Oh, he's too good. King b1. I was trying to be all slick, like he wouldn't notice. Damn. This guy's too good. Guys, this move is happening. Whether we like it or not. I think it is time to close our eyes and send. My turn yet? Oh, yep. Oh, just like at this point, I'm just looking at the chat. I can't even see where the mouse is. Oh, there we go. Yeah. You just have to send. It's the only way to do it. Is it my turn yet? Oh, okay. Let's go something like this. I mean, we're trying. We're trying. Someone said go checkmate, so I'm gonna try to do that. Oh, it's my turn. Sorry, didn't see that. It'd be great if hang on, whoa. Check maybe. Hang on. Whoa. Okay, this doesn't work, guys. Guys, whoever hey, who's the guy that said go checkmate? Hang on a sec. Where's that guy? As for this game, very tricky. Even though we took and it was actually good for us to take, it still didn't work out. Right? It's very tricky to take these fishing pole type of bishops, right? There's always a moment where you're like, wait a minute, I can take that now. That's safe. And then you do it and you still get mated. You still get mated. So it's always going to be safer not to take those things, but you're going to have to go through a few failures before you understand when it's safe to take and when it's not. Okay? So we took an L here. We've been taking L's a lot when we accept this bishop on g5. Luckily, it doesn't happen that much, but it's something you're going to have to limit test, guys. There's no other way to put it. There's no other way to put it. F4, yeah? Okay. D5. Oh, looks like we're going to win this game for Sean. Maybe in 3 moves. We secured the bag. We did it for Sean. That's what Sean would have wanted. Oh, maybe again? Yeah. Oh, pre-move. Yeah. D5, forced win. Oh, wait. Hang on. Hang on. He's not giving it to me. Okay. Castles. Castles. H3. Now, let's keep the pin. Let's keep the pin. Knight A4. This annoying guy. This annoying guy. Oh, dude, he's not a fan of pins. He's not a fan of pins, eh? C3. And after C3, I think I'm just gonna continue with the usual. Wonder which one I do. Hard to tell. Yeah, I'll bring the rook in, maybe go for D5. H6, reasonable, but usually I would want to keep my H pawn to take back. Excuse me, take back the H pawn G6. Knight F5. Okay. Interesting. Knight takes E4. Doesn't quite work because this knight takes G6. He goes here. Now I could go H6 now that the bishop's not hanging. Taking is also pretty reasonable. I remove the rook from the open A file because it's not gonna do anything. Like if he plays A3, it always kills me. The rook eventually, well, it is gonna do more in the center no matter what. It's gonna do more in the center no matter what. But it's okay to leave it here for a little bit. It's just like eventually, I'm ahead in development compared to him. So if I leave my rook here and he leaves his rook there, it benefits him, not me. Well, knight takes C4, knight takes C3. I'm losing a knight. So I don't win that trade after knight takes G6. So let's play H6 and really ask for it with G5. D5 looks nice. Yeah, the thing about D5 that you always have to reckon with is bishop G5. Yeah, G5, now we can take the knight. Knight D4, I don't know who you're suggesting knight D4 for, but I'm hoping neither player. Okay, rook A8, and we're preparing D5. Okay, H5, and I mean, is my bishop so impressive here? I think I might take. It doesn't look like it's doing anything more on that square except waiting to take the knight eventually. He's really putting the clamps on me. Agreed, agreed. Let's play D5. Okay, bishop H3, tricky guy. When people start coming at you over here, center, play center, pawn moves. Try. Carlson, great, thanks for the 5 subs. Okay, he's really sending it, guys. Help me. Help me. Bishop takes. Oh no. I think we might be in trouble here. I think we're in trouble here. These bishops are strong, but his king is totally exposed. It's whether or not I can use that or if it's going to work against me, which is quite possible. So, double pawns here. Something usually to avoid. I'm going to play queen d6. They do RV, but that's usually what happens when you sort of approach the game with fundamentals. People who just send it usually do cause you issues. F4. Okay. Wow. Full energy send from this guy. So F4, I can push or take either pawn here. Totally up to me. Pawn takes. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go here because it follows the philosophy that if someone's attacking you on the king side, open up the middle as much as possible. So I'm looking to take, like, I'm looking to bust the whole thing wide open. You know, bust down Tatiana. H6. Let's take it for now. See if we can capture some of these pawns. H7, also a reasonable move. I'm just going to take for now. Opens up queen g3. Yeah, but the rook's going to take back, or the queen, and then it won't be possible. That's the idea, Big Will. We got a lot to reckon with, though. If any of his pieces get to the g file, I'm in trouble. I am mated. So what is he threatening here, guys? He is threatening queen g2. Help me. Queen g2 and queen g7 is checkmate. Very easy to miss that, by the way. I would expect some of the lads to miss that one. Strong move from our friend here. So I would say like a decent pre-move might be this. Assuming that he might do something. Rook g2, I'm expecting. Yeah, at least we can try to take this. And I would say this is maybe a hope if he goes rook g1. Yeah, he made a nice move, though. Okay, get him out of here. It's KCP 27 months in a row. He says, fuck your habits. I smoke and drink every day, and I'm still rated 323. Okay. Fuck. I mean, KCP. You might want to tune in a couple hours. I think people rated 323 who smoke and drink every day are definitely, you know, going to be in touch with our community in a couple hours. I think you'll fit in. So thank you, KCP. Rock and Jason, thanks for the 100 bits. All hail the FSM. Thank you for the brand new sub. Carlson the Great, thank you for the 5 gifted subs earlier. Sounds like you'd fit right into marbles, exactly. Just like this guy's gonna fit right into the PFT. That's right, the Peruvian fallopian tubian. That's right, taking another victim. Now, has anyone ever seen this move before? Queen a5. What a remarkable move. Has anyone ever seen the legend? They call him the Chupacabra. You ever heard of him? Oh, he's dangerous. He's dangerous. Big Chewy. I'm telling you, Queen a5, very, very high T. Very, very high T. Big Gusev. Big Gusev. Knight c3. We'll play knight c3. We'll play knight c3. But you know, bishop e2. You guys can see what he's up to. He's gonna get taking. Knight d2, for example. There might be queen takes d5. Right. This knight can now move because there's no queen to a4. So let's see what happens. Knight c3. Not only a reasonable continuation because he can't take this pawn, but reasonable because we don't want to give up our bishop as well. We want to block with a knight. And knight d2 lost the d pawn. Exactly, metal chess. The most important thing that we've learned from this opening is that our opponent has about a 10-inch cock. So we'll keep that in mind for the middle game. Okay, knight takes e5. That's fine. Totally okay. Not concerned at all. Rom, that's TBD afterwards. TBD afterwards. Okay, so just played the move knight takes e5. I mean, we can castle nice and easy, but of course we're going to take that knight on e5. There's no way we don't. Now, queen takes c3. Bishop d2. Queen takes e5. And we notice the position starts to get very tough. However, if we display bishop d2, queen e5, castling, right? Bishop d2, queen e5, castle. Then we can understand, you know, hey, there's maybe like a bishop check coming. You know, he doesn't have a single piece developed. I think you could make an argument there. I think you could make an argument. We'll see how it plays out. Gusev has disconnected. Gusev has reconnected. That's not what we like to hear. Big goo. These moves are happening. However, the good thing about losing pawns is that you always have a lot of places for your rooks to go. You always have a lot of places for your rooks to go. Because you don't have any pawns. That's plain and simple. You don't have any pawns. So, where should one rook go? Well, absolutely one should go in the e file. There's no question about it. Do we really care about this pawn? Not really. It's more about the activity. The activities. We're going to start like this. We have a line on the queen, and our opponent played probably the least expected move in the entire fucking position. Queen e6. Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Is that not the wildest retort to Rookie 1 that you've ever seen in your life? What? my guy just played f takes e6. Like it's all part of the plan. He's chill. F takes e6? And what? Oh my goodness. Allow me to make a threat. Allow me to continue to make threats. Gusev is out here. Gusev is out here. Permit me a pawn. Permit me a pawn. Do I think Buddy feels threatened? I actually don't. I'm actually a little frightened. He 100% does not feel threatened. And it shows. Let's go Rook C1. Rook C7. Have I ever seen that move before? I can honestly say no. I really can. Okay. He's going for trades. We're obviously very happy about that. Trades. Here we go. Rook C7. Check. He's going to go back into hiding, and we are going to bring this queen down. A nice little double attack, Ferda. Are we chessbrah on YouTube? Yes. RSV or RSPVM. Yes, we are. I mean, Buddy Goosehead, man. Wow. That was quite the move. Oh, he wants a rematch, all right. Oh, he wants a rematch, all right. Okay. Now, I didn't get to do this very often, but against d4, we are going to play knight f6. And here we go. This is something that we didn't get a chance to talk about yet. There's an opening when people don't play the London called the Nimzo, which we are going to be playing against d4. The Nimzo is going to be great. It's going to be perfect for teaching us about some pawn structure things, because the whole point of the Nimzo actually is to give away this bishop for the knight at some point. Like, that's why you put the bishop there. It's not like if you get attacked, there's no going back, right? You're committed. You have to take that. So because that's the point of the Nimzo, you're often going to get an imbalance where your opponent has a bishop, or you're playing against double pawns. So it's gonna be perfect for teaching us some of those things. Yeah, he goes e4 here. It's sort of I guess a bit of a unique line. I don't think it's that good. But yeah, usually we want a castle, d6, knight c6, basically things like that. d5 here, I don't think so. I think what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to put my pieces like this: castle, pawns on dark squares. If I get attacked, I'm always gonna take. So that's 100%. I'm gonna castle, and what we're gonna do is play e5. So knight here, e5. Both of those are the ideas. Let's start with e5 because I'm curious what he's gonna do. A lot of times when you're playing at, I don't know. Okay, so this is gonna be great. A lot of times when you're playing at like sub 1600 ELO, you make this attack and you just put your knight here as the perfect bait. And whenever the pawn gets attacked, most of the time they play d5 because they're attacking your knight. So your knight move to them looks like a bad move because they gain time attacking it. And then you just move your knight back, and you'll be very happy with the resulting position, putting your knight on c5 with that pawn there. So what are we going to do now to entice the move d5? We're going to play bishop here, of course. Didn't want to just win the pawn? Well, I wasn't winning the pawn, right? My knight wasn't there. This knight's protecting. So we play bishop here. We're threatening this and luck. We got him to play the move d5. Now, after the move d5, we have a lot of places we could put our knight. a5 comes to mind. There's lots of places, but I am going to choose b8 just to make the point that we want to go here just to entice this, and then we go back. Doubled isolated pawns, some of the worst pawns in the world to play with. Not isolated, sorry. Doubled and backwards pawns, some of the worst pawns in the world to play with. And he has 2 sets of them. Oof. It's disaster. Knight d7. This knight's gonna go on c5. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. So this is us improving our pieces. We want to occupy the square in front of the pawns, as we're doing right now. Knight c5. What does backward pawn mean? It means they can't move forward to join the guy who's next ahead of them. They're stuck there, for the moment at least. So the knight's chilling, it's doing its thing. I don't really like being on this this open file here, so I'm probably going to move my king. But these pawns are all very nasty looking. Outpost is fantastic. So in order to, I guess, really try to make a point here, I'm going to play g5. I'm going to completely look to shut down this move, and I'm going to shuffle all my pieces over to the king side, because that's where the action is. Here we go. on h7. I agree the diagonal looks a bit scary, but remember, if this diagonal opens up, I've done something wrong. There's no way that should ever happen. This should remain closed for a long time. And what we're about to see is hopefully bishop against knight and exactly how that might play out. Yeah, you see how like basically everything over here is, I mean, completely stymied. There's nothing, there's no threats. There's no threats. Right, I can try h5, rook g8. I think it always makes sense to start by bringing the pieces in. Now, he goes h4. I mean, it might seem surprising that I'm going to do this, but my pieces are ready for the g-file way more than his are. I'm just taking a free pawn. That's soon going to become a queen. Let's take with the pawn so we have another guy come in here to once again stop that from happening. And you see how his bishop is literally trapped. It's completely stuck. The whole game hasn't done a single thing. It won't do a single thing. I mean, basically the game is just over. The game is over. I have a pawn that's about to queen, and probably the most visual move I could make is queen f4, just because after these captures happen, there's nothing the bishop can do to stop my pawn from becoming a queen. Right? It's just that's how much this knight dominates this bishop. And it's all because of these double pawns that we've seen here. So okay, this move, I'm gonna just take it, may as well. I could play this as well. Like it's all winning, but this one knight like dominated his bishop the whole game. And I just brought all my pieces over to what looked like the most likely place that things would open up. And with my pawns and my knight, I was able to keep both backward and doubled pawns at bay. And I mean, like, just, okay, here. This is the best way to explain it. It might not look that good for black, but look at it from white's perspective. This is just shit. There's not a single break. There's not a single aggressive move that white can do. The only pawn move that he can push that's relevant is h4. And we were ready for that, right? That's why we brought the rooks here. So once we handled his only, slightly aggressive move h4, he didn't want to sit around doing absolutely nothing, so he did it anyway. And they lost the game because of it. You just can't stop this. So not only knight against bishop, but that's an opening that we're going to be taking up full time against d4. So look for more of that in level 4. Nimzo. It's going to help. Big time with playing against pawn weaknesses and just playing positionally. Some slightly more closed positions that you might get out of that to complement some of our other openings. So we don't have a lot of openings right now where there's knight versus bishop imbalance, playing against pawn weaknesses. Nimzo has all of that. Okay, e4, e5. I just got scammed out of the white pieces, I think. Okay, are we playing Ruy Lopez? Oh, c4. Okay, so let's go bishop c5. We don't want to deal with this. Okay. Bishop there. Let's go h6. Bishop there. And you know what, guys? We get to play g5. Why? Because we haven't played g5 in a position where we haven't been castled yet. So let's give it a try. I told you we were going to be doing some limit testing on the move g5 today. So you guys can get a better understanding of why it's good and why it's not. So let's see how g5 works in this position. We're not quite castled. Okay. We'll follow up with bishop e6. The full VOD is on Twitch. It always is. I mean, it's just in the past broadcasts. Nothing fancy there. A4. Okay, I don't know whose man this is, but when I see A4 and he can't take towards the center on that bishop, I'm taking immediately. That's just automatic. Automatic. Play H5. Okay. H5 is a reasonable move, Diamond. H5 is a reasonable move. Now, the reason we might play H5 is because knight takes pawn, we have H4. Definitely. Definitely. But we're also going to get castled. So, I'm going to castle queenside because that's probably what I would want to do if I'm playing H6 and G5. I like the energy with H5, but you know what, Diamond? I wanted to wait till he castled because now it's going to be even better. Now when I play H5, oh, I mean, this is just perfect. He castled with the king. Now, I mean, guys, he's got to be getting clapped here, right? H4. He's going to move that bishop. And what about G4? You see how quickly the attack flows here. You see how quickly the attack flows here. Whoa, speaking of someone who's got some good flows, how about a raid from Logic? You guys like that segue? That was actually 10 out of 10, by the way. Logic with the raid. 850 people. Welcome, gang. What's going on? What's going on? Let's go Rook G8. Bring the lads over. Smooth. Yeah, that was decently smooth. Holy smokes. Thanks for the raid, Logic. Welcome, my dude. I've seen you check out the channel a few times. We had our boy Dan in here. Eric was on, and we also had Dylan. So I think you've met some of the crew. I've been lurking in the chat, but appreciate the raid. We're doing a series that I came up with called Building Habits, where we start at the bottom. We start at the bottom and we're here. So we started at like 400 ELO, and we're putting together what, in my opinion, are some good habits, some fundamentals. We're not gonna play perfect moves, but we're gonna play pretty damn good moves. And so far, we've gotten up to 1650. So we're just basically grinding the rating ladder and seeing if we can improve together. That's the idea. Okay, queen's attack. Let's go queen g5. Notice how everything is trained at this king. That's where all the action is. That's where all the action is. But that's a super nice raid. Logic's been playing a bunch of chess lately. First of all, if you didn't know that, maybe your favorite rapper was streaming on Twitch, he is. Twitch.tv/Logic. So go check him out. If you haven't given him a follow already. You sense checkmate? I'm feeling a checkmate coming up here too. Knight there. Ooh, this is getting real spicy now. This is getting real spicy. Guys, where is the checkmate, How can it not be? How can it not be here? Does anyone spot it? Where's my mate? Jeez. I deserve a mate here. 92? Yeah, I'm with you guys with 92. I'm with you guys there. And then what after 92? So look, I agree. 92, great start. But what's the next? What's the next? I see a lot of knight f2s, a lot of knight g3s. There's so many tempting things. There's so many tempting things. You know what I mean? This is tough. This is tough. It's hard to choose at this point. Salty Clown wouldn't know what to do. There's so many filthy ways to win here. What's the most elegant? What's the most elegant? Let's see here. Oh my goodness. I am just absolutely spoiled. Okay, let's go bishop takes knight. Okay, let's start with that. And let's follow up with knight to g3 check. Okay. Now, king there. Oof. I mean, I don't I'm not sure we want to talk about that. Bishop takes. I'll just take Just take back. You guys see what's going to happen here. The H file opens up, and this attack has come to, full stop, so to speak. But all we needed to do was just insert that that exchange at the beginning. Okay, knight f3. Now we got some more stuff to think about. There's a hanging queen, though. You're going to have a hard time convincing me that a hanging queen is not something we should take. So let's go here. Now, again, there might be something with g2, but in the spirit of attacking, I think queen to h5 is reasonable. And it also means that we could set up a nice checkmate after king to g2, which is going to start with knight takes e3 check. Then it's up to the king. It's only got one move. Queen takes h3. And at this point, I think you guys can see we're crashing through. And here is just mate. There we go. There we go. We got to get a win for 200,000. Oh, is it a PFT? Oh, tell me we PFT. All the way. Oh, never mind. Imagine PFT for 1650. Imagine. Let's play d4. Close. Exactly, Carlson the Great. Okay, he's given us the center. Guys, we should be really stoked about this. This is awesome. We have easy development now. We're going to get the bishop out. Our queen's protecting. We're going to castle. We want to castle quickly. This is an iconic song also we're listening to. For those that don't know, iconic chessbrah song. It's the Sit on My Face song. Okay, loads of things we can do with the pieces here, but let's just go rook e1. Robert E. I said what I said, buddy. You heard right. You heard right. Christopher Phoenix, thanks for the 9-month resub. Just Jedward's also using Prime. Let's go. Oh, is that Scam Train? We're scamming? Yep, Scam Train started. Let's go. H3. Bishop e3, bishop f4, something like that. Oh, perfect, BRAHS Maniac. Perfect, buddy. See, I told you it's a Sit on My Face song. I told you. Rooks to the middle. What's the PFT? I can show you guys after. Okay, here we just want to be a little bit careful and insert this move just to maintain my knight in the middle of the board. And man, the sub gifting right now is insane. I'm hoping that some of the new people who did stick around after the raid are getting some subs. If you're new to the channel, this is, I mean, I'm spoiled to say this, but this is a regular type of support that we get around here. A lot of big supporters of the channel, a lot of sub gifters, and that's why we're closing in on our 16,000 sub goal again. I don't know exactly what we're at right now, but I feel like we're getting there. We're very close right now. Let's double on the open file. Thank you very much, Naprosto, 10 subs, and Carlson the Great with 10 subs. 2 huge supporters of the channel, making it happen right now. Making it happen. So yeah, if you got a sub, make sure to say thank you. We do have a lot of sub benefits, and it's not just myself that streams on this channel. We got a lot of people that stream here, which means that the channel is actually on like practically 24/7. Practically 24/7. So it's a good channel to be sub to. We're live like almost all the time. It's worth. Who's the crazy spaghetti monster emoji person? As Big Dill. That's Big Dill. You'll see him tonight. Wow, look at the support pouring in. Thank you, Faulted Segmentation with the 1,000 bits. Blood Latte with the gifted sub. And Carlson the Great with 10 more. Let's not forget. Carlson the Great. Yo, Carlson. Thank you, man. Y'all live in the same house? Yeah, we have like 2 stream places right now. Okay, we decided to get rid of his bishop pair. Our turn. Play a move in the center of the board. Oh, we're so close. 15 more followers. 15. Theo Ganthos, faulted segmentation with the bits, and Royally Clash and Theo from earlier bits as well. I think E5 makes a lot of sense here. And there's going to be some tactics potentially. Gen X final revision. Generation X. Let's go. 200K. It's coming. It's coming. I can feel it. Okay. Unfortunately for my friend here, for Buddy over here, I think he's in big trouble. Who's going to be Mr. 200K or Mrs. 200K? Thank you, Gen X, for the 5 subs. Really appreciate that. Taking part of our scam train. We hit 1650. We're scamming out here. We're about to hit 200,000 followers. What's the official count at? 11 more. We're also going for 16,000 subs. Let's go. We'll give ourselves a KO for that. 1650. That's something to celebrate. Hey guys, just a reminder that Building Habits is going to be a regular series on our YouTube channel, so make sure to get subscribed if you are not already. Drop a comment down below for the algorithm, and let me know what you thought about the video. See you next time.